Hello! Slightly later start today. I was just finishing off an episode I was watching, and I was like, to get sorted for the stream. But we're here now. And hi, Fuge. Welcome in. Plot is running. So yeah, today I've not prepped for a Joe case because this is a murder mystery, and it may be that I will be like, oh my gosh, murder mystery. I will probably want to play this slightly longer than, an hour and a half. So, Death Becomes You was released, I can say 2 years ago now. Well, no, a year and a half. August 4th, 2023. I'm trying to incorporate a bunch of my 2023 list because I got the 2022 ones done off the list last year. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, I've still got stuff from 2023, which is now a while ago. So I shall try and do, I don't know, one a week, maybe? Where possible. Just because, yeah, I want to make sure that my 2023 list doesn't get neglected because of new stuff coming out this year, because we've still got 2024 to do as well. My list has like 170 something games on, 160 something games on it. There are some co-streams in addition to that. Oh, hi Circlead. Twitch chat is working today, that's good. So yeah, I want to make sure that I get those done promptly. It'd be nice to get to the end of 2025 and only have 2025 games left. I don't think that's realistic, but at the very least, let's try and get 2023 games done. Anyway, this one is a Ratalaika game, developed by Quill Game Studios. The website also has Summer with the Shibu Inu as Quill Game Studios, so that's not popping up, but we did do the Shibu Inu one. That was one that Jesse and I did, I'm fairly certain. But I can't quite remember, maybe it was a different game. So yeah, I can't find it. So maybe not. Either which way, it doesn't really matter, because we have this game today. Death Becomes You is, as I said, Quill Game Studios, based in Canada. Originally came out on Steam and PC in 2021, but it came out on consoles, so it's out on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, August 2023. It's available on Steam, itch, Switch, Microsoft, Xbox One, and Series X, PlayStation 4 and 5. And yeah, it's a murder mystery. So, who killed your best friend? Find out the truth before 4 suspects frame you instead. Death Becomes You is a mystery visual novel where you untangle the dark secrets of your fellow magical university students. It's got replayability, multiple routes to unlock more and more of the truth, characters with complicated motives and interpersonal history, 4 character routes, and 10 plus endings. Mostly bad endings. About 77,000 words. I don't know how that will translate to game length. But there are... where is it? 27 achievements, all of which are obtainable. And price-wise, it's $8.99 or £7.99 on the Xbox. Right. Oops. So, looks like all the achievements are missable because I'm guessing that they are on different routes. There is a walkthrough, but we're going to play this, going in without walkthrough because we don't do walkthroughs on stream, except in very rare occasional circumstances where it's a challenge or a competition or someone has nominated a game and it requires me using a walkthrough to get a particular achievement because I don't want to miss it. But have a look. So, background, endings, developer notes. Cool. Awesome. Settings wise, we're not skipping. Okay. We're not going to mute anything. We're not skipping anything. We're changing text box style to black so we can read it. Start. No matter what happens, this will be the end of us. Okay, so what's collection? Oh, cool. Usually you can't see the bonusy bits. Because everything is hidden in a menu. That's nice. And then history. We've got the dialogue history. I like that. And then, yeah, you've got the save game there. Okay. With those words stuck in my head, I bounced between really wanting to see Lyra and being stubborn. She was right to be mad. I know this, but how do I break the silence that's lasted a whole week? A silence that's created a guilt so strong that each time I close my eyes, I see how hurt she was. Oh no! Friendship in trouble. I miss her. But all I did was ask a simple question about a silly rumour. Why has it all become so complicated? I'm forcefully connected to the hive mind, and I blink back the strange sensation. Even though I've used the campus hive mind messaging system countless times, I'm still not used to the tingle that creeps over my eyes. A message flashes across the back of my eyelids. Mentor reassignment approved. Further details will be provided as soon as they are finalised. Have a nice day. And then I'm out again. So, yeah, it is Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yes, it is Saturday. So how is everyone doing? What's everyone up to? How's the first week of January gone? Even though it's only the 4th. So technically it was mid-full week, but still. You know. How cold is it there? Because it's 3 degrees outside and 17.5 inside, and I probably will have to get up and put the heating on at some point. But yeah. Please feel free to say hi. Cut off from the campus hive mind with a new message stuck in my head like a bad song. I shoot it from my bed, my eyes sting mercilessly and not just from the hive mind ping. I can't believe she went through with it. She's getting rid of me. Lyra has been my mentor since I began at the academy. We had a little argument, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't irredeemable. We're still friends, aren't we? Suddenly, my stubbornness is a lot easier to tame. My eyes flutter, spelling out my thoughts. A sharp pain connects me to her, and off it goes. What's my name? My name is Joe, not Sydney. I'm sorry, can we talk, please, Joe? I wish the message didn't sound so desperate, but honestly, I am. She's my friend. That's why I asked about the rumours. It's because I didn't want to believe them. But she had laughed at me in response. Then she got quiet. I'd never seen Lyra so tense before. She floats around the campus with a smile on her face, and people flock to be her friend the way that I did. The way I was. I was proud to be her friend. I still am. I'm grateful she chose to guide me through what could have been a really rough first year. Lyra always says that unless your mentor is ready to devote every waking moment to you, you'll never survive the first year. Lyra's that kind of mentor, so dedicated to me that it was hard not to become as close as we did. She is the force I need to keep going on the worst of days. Okay, let's talk. My head bucks, and hope spurs me forward. I tug my shoes on and stumble out the door. I don't realise how late it is until the cold air smacks me in the face. Maybe I should get a jacket, but I want to see Lyra. I run towards the quiet side of campus where the mentors live. I want to sort this out and be her mentee again. I want to hear her voice. Huh? Voices. I look around, but it's so late not even a stray is out. Definitely heard something. I walk closer to where the sounds are coming from. You've got to be kidding me. Is this all you wanted to say? Lyra, it's her voice. It's not running again before I can think about it. You were quick, I'll give you that, but not quick enough. She's coming to get you. Lyra's voice cuts through the silence from the balcony above. Her melodic laughter sounds different than usual to me, but I know it's her. There's no doubt that it's her voice. There's a bite to it I've never heard before, but there'll be a reason for it, like there's a reason for the rumours. We can talk, and I know there'll be a reason. People are just jealous of her. We can definitely sort things out. From behind me, a thud, a crack, a hollow squelch. My heart lurches into the wallows of my stomach. Why? I'm close to panicking before I even turn around, imagining the worst, hoping for the best, seeing the worst. Lyra! Her bones jut out of her flesh at unnatural angles. But why is there so much blood? The pool of red seeps outward as if making its way towards me. I force myself to step forward to get closer to her. Get up, please. Get up, Lyra. I can't get any closer, no matter how much I want to be there for Lyra, I can't. Lyra! Get away from her! I'm sorry, The student drags me back my shirt collar, holding me there as she inspects every inch of me. Miss Daniela, What did you just say? Sorry. I nod. Her gaze sucks coherent thought out of me. I don't even know what I'm sorry for, but I am. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Tears drip down my face. I want to tell Lyra that I'm sorry. I wanted to know how I feel. If I say it enough times, will it make all this go away? Save your sorries for someone who can use them. She lets go of me as if she touched something dirty. I flinch away from her, my numb body stumbling back. Scuttle backwards, my hands slipping in blood. I scream. The sound pierces my throat until I'm out of breath. A hand, unfazed by the streaks my fingers paint on her sleeve cuff, help me up. What happened there, Joe? You know me? Yes, I know you. You're Lyra's mentee. You don't know me, I suppose. My panic ebbs and flows each time I blink. I don't know what spell she's using, if she's casting magic at all, but I want to feel calm, so I stare deeply into her glowing green eyes. I'm Apolline. Lyra may have mentioned me, maybe not a lot, but enough that my name rings a bell. No, she never did. I'm sorry. No, don't be. That does sound like Lyra. She laughs, but no joy glitters in her green eyes. As calm as I feel, I know this person is manipulating me with some enchantment. I should be this calm, not why Lyra is over there. I pull away from Apolline and the panic hits me again. She was doing something to me. That's why Lyra never mentioned Apolline. Lyra would never let someone control me like that, not when I'm only a first year and can't defend myself. Did I offend you? No. Yes. Hey, Alkash! The two students run towards the scene, hand in hand. When they catch my eye, they stop suddenly. Who are they? Oh dear, and I thought 3 was a crowd. The purple-haired student glares at me and stands before the blonde as if shielding her. We came as soon as we heard. Screams! We heard screams! Is she alive? No. Joe made sure of that. Me? Daniela's eyes never meet mine, but she cuts everyone else down with a glare. The blonde shrinks behind the purple-haired student and Apolline shuffles away from me. You found her? Was that only a coincidence? Yes, How did you do it? Daniela, what are you? You heard her. She keeps saying she's sorry. What are you so sorry about? I didn't do this. How would you apologize for something you didn't do? Because people do that all the time. You can't do this, Daniela. This is murder. I didn't do this. Why should we believe you? My head snaps the sour-faced student who won't even look at me. Her eyes never leave Daniela's. I'm her friend. I'd never do this to her. I look to the one person who might have my back, but Apolline is also looking to Daniela. My last hope dies. Maybe it's a little suspicious. Please, I didn't do anything. Please believe me. Let's hope the authorities believe you. No, we can't. Sophie, we can't. Do we have any choice? Other choice, Alice? Sophie, ignore her. It's not your choice to make, Alice. Apolline, call the administrators. They can sort this out. Apolline looks at me with a weak smile. If you're innocent, Joe, then it'll be fine. I'll find out what really happened. I want to agree, but what if they come to the same conclusion? What if they take the easiest course of action and blame me for it? No. No. But why worry if you're innocent? They all stare at me. I am, but I'm alone. None of these people will help me. None of these people will go out on a limb for me the way my eyes catch Lyra's knee wrenched back at an unnatural angle. She's the only person I had. I didn't do this, but I'm scared. I feel a small hand touch mine. Alice, the blonde-haired student, holds my hand and smiles at me with the radiance of a spring morning. I'll help you, Joe. I don't believe that, but who else can I trust now? That smile might only be to sweeten the lies. We won't let anything bad happen to you. Then it's decided. Sophie, come with me. We need to move Lyra before this becomes bigger than us. What about us? Didn't you just promise to take care of Jo? You and Apolline can see that she gets back to her dorm safely. As we walk away, I take one last look at Lyra. Danielle turns Lyra's face away from me, revealing the hole in the back of her skull. Sophie presses her hands against her. What are they doing to her? Neither of them flinch as they lift, blood dripping and broken limbs dragging along behind them. My gut grips onto my supper and I hope it stays there. As I did not need the squelching noises there. As I walk away with Alice and Apolline, I hate the relief I feel knowing that I'm away from Lyra's corpse. I was dying to see Lyra, but now she's dead, I can't wait to get away. Excuse me. Oh dear. So, how is everyone? How are you doing, Cash? We are doing a murder mystery today, but it has interesting sound effects. So yeah, good. Glad you're doing okay. Hey, I'm Alice, but you probably already caught that. I know she's trying to make me feel better, so I go along with it, hoping talking is better than this guilt. I'm Jo. I'm glad that it's harder to think about Lyra when I'm talking to Alice, because I'll scream again if I do. Nice to meet you, Jo. I force on a smile as bright as Alice's while Lyra bleeds. Nice to meet you too. You've already met Apolline. She's a mentor for elemental magic. Lucky for her, that's my major, so she gets to see me all the time. I would if you ever showed up for lectures. Guilty. Alice and Apolline both seem like the type that smiles a lot, which is almost infectious, but not enough for me to shake the gloom that's gripping me. You're a first year, right, Jo? You'll be picking out a major soon. You got any ideas what it'll be? No, it's a big decision. The biggest. Having a mentor makes it easier to choose. It would if they weren't such egoists. Not you, Apolline. You're wonderful. Thank you, Alice. My mentor wasn't like that either. Oh, who's your mentor? Lyra. Oh, it used to be. Oh. She had me reassigned, so technically she's not my mentor anymore. That sounds a lot like her. It's the second time Apolline has said something sounds like that, like what Lyra would do. Is she rubbing in how well she knew Lyra? It's not true. Well, she usually doesn't last a semester with a mentee. She must have liked you. It's like I said, we were friends. And I really seemed smug about it when she dropped me too. Apolline is watching me and I get the feeling she's thinking the same thing. Friends, huh? Lyra having friends seems odd. There's nothing odd about it. We'd still be friends now if I didn't ask her stupid questions about stupid rumours. She might even be alive now if I'd have kept my big mouth shut. I wasn't a good friend. I should have believed her, no questions asked. If I had, she might... Tears choke at me and I shut up. I've brought back the elephant in the room. I need to stop being such a coward. You don't need to do that to be a big good friend, Jo. Do what? Blame yourself. It's as useful as punching yourself in the face. It just hurts. I laugh a little weakly and just as quickly stop. I scrub away the tears from my sleeve. I can't think like that. It is my fault. The truth is, Lyra does what she wants to and has a talent for making you think you had some kind of control over it. You shouldn't take on more than your fair share of responsibility. Some people don't need a reason to make a bad choice, and letting you go is one of Lyra's bad choices. Maybe it was a good choice for you, at least. I'd put it another way. Lyra doesn't make good choices, but rash ones. Unless Daniela is there to hold her hand, she's just a chaotic whirl of desires and passions. I don't think that letting me go is one of them, though. I hurt her. Shut up, Jo, before you say something you regret. There was a rumor about her hurting one of her old mentees. It isn't true, right? That she was taking magic from them without them knowing? I should stop talking. Why would these people be honest if Lyra couldn't be? I know it's not true. Lyra wouldn't. I was just... You were concerned, as you should be when you hear something nasty like that. It's a good thing you asked her about it, Jo. When there's smoke, there's fire and all that. But Jo doesn't need to dwell on these things. It's over now. Pauline's eyes look so empty and my guts twist. She's telling the truth. She's never lied once, but that's what worries me. She's too clever to be telling me the whole truth. We first come to the second-year dormitory. Alice hovers by the door, taking in a deep breath. I do want to make sure you're all right, Jo. Tonight was intense, so if you ever need a friend, my dorm room is 686. You should come and talk about whatever, whenever you want, okay? I'd like that, Alice. Thank you. Alice pulls me into a hug. She smells like daisies and lavender. She moves her face so the heat of her mouth is against the crook of my neck. I'd hate to know what I smell like after all this. Don't worry about Lyra, Joe. She whispers into my skin, quietly enough to keep Apolline from hearing. She did it to herself. Okay. Alice pulls away, giving me a quick peck on the cheek before disappearing into the dormitory. I scrubbed the spot on my cheek that Alice had touched. I can't talk about Lyra like that. She knew what she was doing, being nice to me to cloud my judgment, but her sweet exterior must be hiding something sinister. Too much sugar is sickly. Apolline and I continue to the first year's dorm in silence. Apolline watches me and doesn't even hide it. She even boldly catches my eye when I look back at her. Did she hear what Alice said back there? I shiver at the thought. I would never remotely consider what Alice had said. Lyra and I were about to talk it out and go back to being friends. Why would Lyra do that to herself? Don't go there. Don't go. Oh. I sniff back the tears, trying to hold it together. I can't stop crying. Not now. Not until I get back to my own room. I don't believe that Lyra would have done something like that. Also, she was talking to someone on the balcony. So who was that? Why would she invite me to meet up if she was planning to? Unless she wanted me to see it? She wanted me to know it was my fault? No, she didn't. Alice was lying. That makes more sense than Lyra. Joe? I walk fast to the dorm is in sight and get there before I can deal with these thoughts. It's all my fault. Sorry, not the game, just my fatigue. The thoughts don't stop no matter how much I want them to. Maybe she did this to herself and she wanted me to know it. What kind of friend would do that? My thoughts keep cycling past the same points each time. Joe. Lyra wasn't like that. She wouldn't do that to me. Alice, you liar. Sorry, something poking my arm in my jumper. Joe. I spin around and Apolline is holding out a tissue. I snatched it up and scrubbed the tears away. Alice was right. Tonight's been intense. Don't say a word, Joe. Talk and it'll all come out. Just talk together. I nod. It helps to rattle my brain enough as if it could disrupt my cycling thoughts and help me not cry. I was wondering, does the first year dorm still have that broken coffee machine on the third floor lounge? Yeah, I think so. Why? I want a coffee, of course. Apolline holds the lounge door open for me, and I guess that's her way of saying she's seeing me all the way here into my room, just like Miss Daniela asked. It doesn't work, you know. But we're magic, remember? I perk up a little, wondering kind of spell you could use on a coffee machine, then thud, thud, thud. Apolline slams a palm against the machine, and just like magic, not quite, the coffee machine spits out a cup, filling it with sludgy brown liquid. Ew. Nothing like it. Apolline hands me the cup. After a few cautious sips, it's hard to disagree. 2 long gulps soothe the last knots of tension in my body. Ew. If it doesn't work, that sludgy coffee's been sitting in itself. Ugh. I don't like coffee at the best of times. Apolline smiles expectantly when I hand the cup back. It hits the spot after such a stressful night. A little too well. I promise I haven't done anything to it, Joe. That's not what I meant. Saying that, now I am a little worried. Apolline is a mentor, so her spells go way beyond my own. And Apolline has already proven she'd throw me under the bus if Daniela asked her to. What's to say she's not doing that now? All I can do is trust her, but nothing about the situation is reassuring. If you need to talk, Joe, I'm here too. I guess you also want to be more friends? I snort. How gullible do these people think I am? If you want me to, do you need another friend, Joe? After what happened to my last friend, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe I'm a bad omen. I don't believe that's what happened, Joe. And why did you say that I seem suspicious back outside? You do need to be careful. Even if I don't think it's you, we can't rule anyone out yet. That doesn't explain Miss Daniela's accusations. Daniela knows what she's doing, and I'm sure she agrees with me that we can't rule anyone out. She probably has a plan to get to the bottom of this. None of that felt like it. Shut up before you say too much. Every part of me wants to trust Apolline, but I know that it's the coffee talking. There's no way I'd be so willing to bear so much to this stranger, no matter how nice her eyes are. Could be a spell. Maybe that's why I suddenly felt calmer after looking into her eyes back outside. Joe, we all need someone we can trust. Please don't be afraid to trust me. Maybe. I try and divert the conversation the way Lyra would to keep things fun and light and stop us talking about things that are uncomfortable. You said Lyra talked about me. All the time. If I didn't know to change the topic last time Lyra and I spoke before it was too late, what'd she say? She thought you were a very eager student, very agreeable and fun to be around. You said you were arguing. Did she say anything about it? I don't think so, but Lyra liked to keep a brave face. When you're special to so many people, you have to keep your image up. I don't think many people got to know her well because of it. She wasn't like that with me. I got to know her. She'll make you think that, but she knows how to adapt. Lyra knew she just had to do that because whatever she was hiding is just too ugly a thing to forgive, no matter how special she is. I take the last swig of the coffee, trying to hide how uncomfortable her words have made me. I know Lyra like no one else does, even if Apolline thinks otherwise. I think we better call it a night, don't you? I nod. I promise to look out for you, Joe, like a substitute mentor, though you probably won't need me very much. Lyra said you're strong, resilient even. Me? She said that about me? All the time. She never said that directly to me. We're all here for you, Joe. Having Daniela as a mentor won't be anything like what people say. It is. She's very attentive and will steer you down the right path. Wait, Miss Daniela is going to be my new mentor? Don't be a stranger, Joe. My office door is always open if you need an ear or a tissue or coffee. I got coffee! Achievement unlocked. Coffee. Could manipulation get people to do the right thing? Apolline leaves. The beginning of a blustery night is silenced the moment the door closes on her. I'm alone again. Ooh, we have a collection. We got coffee. I wonder if these are going to match the achievements then. No. Some of it might. In which case... Why is that down as missable? That achievement is not missable. I have not selected anything yet. Coffee. If I haven't made any choices, it's not missable. I've gotten wrong, but hey, I've just submitted a flag. Hey, Mr. Corners! How you doing? I put the half-finished coffee on my desk and lay back on my bed staring up at the ceiling. So far, Daniela has accused me of killing Lyra. Apolline tried to hypnotize me. Or at least has used some magic. I'm cold, basically. It's cold. Other than that, I'm okay. Well, as okay as I've been for the last year and a half. And Sophie and Alice haven't really done anything particularly. Found them. Happy New Year. My tea is cold as well. That doesn't help. Okay. Right, give me a minute. I'm just going to put the heating on. Right. Just because, you know, it's cold. There we go. Oh, and I just stared into the ring light and now I blinded myself. Yeah. Lyra, if only I hadn't doubted you. After what feels like hours, the tears finally slow down, but I can't seem to catch my breath. I smother my face with a pillow, hoping it'll do the same for my thoughts. Everything remains so loud. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I ruined everything. Why aren't you here? I promised to be better if you'll come back, Lyra. There are so many things I wanted to do together. But clearly she was talking to someone on the balcony. It was either someone as disguised as me, because it felt like minus 27. I mean, it's 3 here, Celsius. So it's like 30 degrees lower than where you are. That is minus 27 Celsius. That is really freaking cold. Do you live Antarctica? You don't have to answer that. That was a rhetorical question. It's true. That is so cold. Yeah, I'm complaining and it's above freezing. Though, I'm only complaining really because I want it to snow and it feels like it's cold. It should snow. North Dakota, I didn't realise North Dakota got that cold. Mind you, I don't think I know much about North Dakota. Other than I'm fairly certain it features in Calamity Jane. Where is North Dakota in relation to... everything else. Oh, just below Canada. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I can understand why it would be cold then. My knowledge of United States geography is very limited. Yeah, I hope you've got plenty of layers. I've got a blanket and stuff. It's just I try to avoid putting the heating on because it's expensive and put, layers on, but it's this week since I got back has been colder than it's been here ever. Not outside, but inside, because I got back to 15.5 and I'm like, that is very cold. But that was a week away, so yeah. But compared to minus 27. But yeah, I'm just trying to preserve, fuel, really. Because things are expensive. But yeah, I mean, I could get another blanket. My nose isn't cold, so it's not really cold. But I figured if I'm going to be sitting here, I put the heating on. You have a mini heater. It is cold inside, yeah. Yeah. But it's because no one else has their heating on because the cost of fuel went up. It's warming up. Minus 27 is warming up. Oh my god. I just can't comprehend minus 27. And I definitely need a coat on going outside in that. I think the coldest I've ever had was Prague in the winter, in December. It was snowing. I think it was minus like 10 or something, but I don't know if I could do minus 27. Because I like the cold, because you can put layers on, but the reaches a point. Oh yeah, if it's like above 10 degrees here, then I don't bother with a coat. I just put a jumper on. I overheat too quickly. If it's single digits or minus digits, then I put a coat on. Minus digits, also possibly scarf and or hat. I overheat when I move, so yeah, it's a little bit silly. But definitely better than like 30 or 40 positive, where I can't take anything off and my brain is cooking. But yeah, I'm sort of more comfortable in the middle, like normal English weather. This isn't particularly normal. This is global warming. But yeah, no, I overheat quite when I move. So, I'm walking along and it's like, freezing outside. I've got a coat, but it's not zipped up type thing. Yeah. Single snowflake and the country shuts down. Yes. Because it's the wrong kind of snow. Or, there's a leaf on a track and the train shuts down. Yeah. I like the snow. I want to move further north. London is, not the best place to live if you like snow. It's too outside, yeah. Yeah, my electric hasn't really gone down, though I've got a fixed rate at the moment. I've got gas and electric. I don't know which my heating uses, I'll be honest. Probably gas. Yeah. But no, I try and, I've got my computer on all the time and stuff. I could be more efficient with that, but it's one of those ones that once I've turned it off, it won't turn on again for a few hours, so it's more efficient to keep it on and put it in sleep mode. But yeah. Don't worry about typos, Valbo. When I'm typing on Twitch, I'm lucky if people can actually figure out what I'm trying to say. Probably then. Yeah. I just, I like to be frugal. I'd rather get myself a hot water bottle and have a blanket and go to bed than, put the heating on for too long. Yes. Hi, Dan and Milo. Yeah, it's absolutely... Well, it's not freezing. It is 3 degrees outside. It's not snowing. And it's... Well, it's now 18 because I put the heating on inside. But yeah, it's a bit nippy today. And no one else seems to have their heating on, so the building is just cold. Because usually I get heated by residual stuff. Your hockey got called off due to a frozen pitch. Oh no! Well, that's not good. Not good at all. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, we are doing a murder mystery set in a magic university, and our mentor has just died by falling off a balcony, and we're getting accused. You're gutted to have to stay inside the home. I mean, oh god, I had to go outside to get an ingredient for my meal that I realised I hadn't got a spare of, like I thought I had. And thank God the supermarket had it, otherwise it would have been a pain. But oh my god, it was cold outside last night. It was like 0. Yeah, before the price of before the heating prices went up, my flat in the winter, I'd rarely have to have my heating on because everyone else had theirs on, and I'm in the middle. But since they went up, since the cost of living went up dramatically over the last few years, my flat is colder because no one else has their heating on. You know, so it's like, geez. So, you know, I've got some good jumpers and a lot of blankets and a hot water bottle and, you know, but it is actually cold. I'm cold through my blanket at the moment. So I'll boost the heating for, 15 minutes and get it up again and then turn it off. Yeah, my mental health is compromised when it's too warm. My mental health is not compromised when it's too cold. But sometimes my nose is cold. If my nose is cold, then I'm like, yeah, then it is actually cold. My nose isn't cold. My nose is warm at the moment. So it's not too bad. But yeah. My tea is cold. That is because I forgot I had it and didn't drink it. And that's probably why I'll end up with a headache. Self-care. I was talking to a therapist on Friday, and it was like, yeah, why is it so hard for us to be kind to ourselves? And like, quite happily remind a friend to hydrate and eat and, take care of themselves. Me? Why would I want to take care of me? Ridiculous. I will make some hot tea in like half an hour or so. Anyway, let's find out what's going on with this thing. So far, we unlocked coffee. There are still so many things I wanted to do together. Why did I waste the last few days we could have had together? They had an argument. Now they'll never come back. Then silence as the panic burns all thoughts to a white-hot intensity and presses down on my chest. I have to take care of myself because I'm the streamer. I mean, only if people will tell me to, but it's not going to make my tea magically hot. I did boil the kettle, but I think that was about 2 hours ago. I just forget to drink. I did at least have lunch late because I had breakfast late, and I've taken my medication, I think. Well, my phone's not yelling at me, so I must have taken my medication. And I cooked a gigantic risotto yesterday, so that'll take care of food for the rest of the week, like next week as well. So, I've got the food down pat. I just keep forgetting to have a drink. I just don't get thirsty. Anyway, white hot intensity. It crushes me until I'm breathless and I scream, sobbing pitiful tears into my pillows. I'm scared for my life, as scared as Lyra was when she fell. I'm crying all over again. I cry until I'm so tired my body shuts down and forces me to sleep. It's a dreamless sleep, haunted by Lyra. My only friend in this whole world. Gone. Lyra, I will make this right. There must be something I could do. 7 days later. A week has passed. Yeah, I can't say. I can think about it in nicer terms that Lyra's gone. She isn't here, I'm alone. I can say that I'm alone, but admitting that she's I haven't gotten to that point, but I need to because I can't keep this up much longer. I hold myself away, waiting for someone else to notice and to serve justice, because there's no way Lyra did this to herself. Whoever did it is still out there. I need to do something useful, but I don't know what. I've been searching the campus hive mind, logging in religiously over the last week, looking for anything about her. Nothing is different, even though she's gone. Nothing has changed. What should have changed? Everyone knew her and adored her and revered her, yet not a single person is talking about why she's not here. Turns out that no one but me cares about her. They kind of cared about it the same way I did. They were all fake friends. Lyra knew this. They cared as much as their jealousy would let them, but my friendship was real. Lyra wouldn't let me hang out with her other friends because she wanted us to be closer than that. What if it had been me? Lyra would care more. She'd do more about it. I think back to that night and the students that had been there. The way that this person had acted was strange. I mean, both of them. Both Apolline and Daniela. But, okay, hang on, can I save? Ha! Yeah, let's save. Save at the choices. Okay, we're gonna go for Apolline first, because I felt she tried to hypnotize us. As well. Apolline keeps saying that's what Lyra would do. It seemed like she knew Lyra well, but how come Lyra never mentioned her to me? No, Alice was nice. Sophie was acting strange. I wonder why Sophie was so quick to agree to pin it on me. Lyra would want to know who did this to me. I need to do that for her too. Apolline and Sophie seem suspicious to me. I need to find out which one of them did it. If I don't, when people notice she's gone, how long will it be until fingers start to point in my direction? Until Daniela convinces them it was me, just like she convinced the others. That's it. Miss Daniela is a lead. Whether it's her or not, I can talk to her before investigating Apolline and Sophie even more. Daniela was the first one to show up and the first one to blame me. She touched the corpse like it was nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if she's done something like this before. Perhaps I'm letting my instincts lead, but they're the only thing I can go right by right now. I'll get Miss Daniela to talk. Don't know how, but I'll figure it out. For Lyra's sake, I have to at least try. I get lost along the way to Daniela's office and have to backtrack along the hallways a few times. I never realised how little I came to the mentor officer's wing, and the even fewer times I'd come without Lyra's chaperoning. Lyra liked to keep her mentorship personal. Officers felt like the opposite of that to her. I imagine someone like Daniela is the exact opposite. I'd never met her in person before last week, but you'd have to be stupid not to know her name and what she looks like. People prayed they didn't get her as a mentor. I'd lost touch with most of my cohort. I didn't need the distraction, but from what I could tell, Daniela's mentees spoke of her with a cold distance of a quaking underling. After meeting her, I can see why. Her voice commands your attention whether you want to submit or not. Everyone at the scene blamed me just because Daniela suggested it. When I come to her door, I have to master my nerve and knock with the kind of authority she'll respect. Can't show weakness. Lyra told me that much. With people like Daniela, you either stand tall or beg. I wait. Silence comes from the other side, but I checked her office hours and she should be here. I move to knock again, but the door suddenly opens. Office hours finished 3 minutes ago. Come back tomorrow. She looks very young. Daniela might be shorter than me, but her glare makes me feel even smaller. She looks at her watch with pursed lips before slowly shutting the door on me again. Wait! I push against the door and it gives way far easier than I thought. Daniela's face shows shock and then an embarrassed anger. I need to speak to you. Then you should have been punctual. Don't waste any more of my time. She pushes hard against the door, but it's becoming embarrassingly clear she doesn't have the physical strength to best me. I want to know something about that night. Don't you know enough already? I want to know about her body. What did you do with it? Daniela releases her hold on the door, and I assume that's the only invitation I'm going to get and walk in. Daniela waves her stacks of books back onto the shelf, clearing a chair for me to sit. On her desk is a strange bird. By the smell that clings to the room, it's been long dead. I run a hand along it from the top of its downy head to the strangely smooth glass-like spread of wings. Crystal taxidermy. It takes a lot of patience and time, both of which you are taking. It's beautiful. Daniela clicks her tongue. She seems to not like being ignored. You're a transmutation mentor, right? That's what my specialization is. Is this part of it? Small part is more of a hobby than anything of use. She doesn't stop me, but she watches me like a bird of prey, ready to jump in should I do something wrong. This is not the corpse you wanted to discuss, Joe. Can we get back on topic? I nod, pulling away, but there's something mesmerizing about the bird corpse's mouth. Why the heck did I get mouth there? The bird corpse's smooth transition from flesh and feathers to crystal. Lyra. A thought pops into my head and I feel instantly sick. I've been admiring something that could so easily be Lyra. Please don't let your wild fantasies get the best of you, Joe. Daniela snorts amusedly, catching on to my train of thought before I'd come to my conclusion. My wide eyes and pale face must have given it away. I don't know what you did with Lyra. You could have done anything to her. I'm an idiot for letting that happen. All right, I could have. Her snorting laugh breaks into a saccharine giggle that doesn't suit her. It sounds flirtatious until Daniela's hard expression reveals it as an accident. She takes the sculpture from the table and returns it to a row of birds and animals, all half petrified in crystal. Crystal taxidermy has always been seen as a jovial hobby, but recent studies have identified a particular use for it. These studies verge on the edge of less agreeable magic, however. My research has been halted for now, but it was not in vain. I try to interject, but she leaves no pause large enough, purposely pushing the conversation away from Lyra. Turning flesh to crystal allows you to see every fault in that being. With the appropriate cutting and alignment of the chevrons, bevels, and points, one can fragment the light perfectly and cause these figures to glow anew, like life itself still resides in them. I tell you this because if I'd done it to Lyra, it would have been a sculpture nothing short of sublime. You thought about it? I yell, feeling sick. Obsessively. Imagine, Joe, I could have preserved her body in a way that would accentuate every line of her physique. I could have perfected the density of crystal to susurrate when I ran my hand along her cheek. It would sound much like her laugh, that constant empty ring. Suddenly she reins in a demeanour from her increasingly unhinged rants. But it didn't. We dealt with her body respectfully. I hope that puts your mind at ease. Doesn't. Well, that sounds like your problem to solve. I have been most honest with you. Too honest for my liking. People tell you they're being honest. The irony of it is an insult. Daniela, more than anyone I've met before, makes me feel that irony because I don't know where the lie is. I want to know where she is. She is safe, Joe. Daniela stands over me, and I fear pushing for an answer will have no effect on her. Okay, I believe you. With that win, Daniela returns to her seat. With my loss, I stand to leave. Our conversation is not done. You will be my mentee starting tomorrow, and I believe we have things to discuss in that regard. I sit down once again, but I want to leave now more than ever. I've been too smug just because I forced my way in, but Daniela has all the power here. You've been missing your lectures. Why? I thought the reason was obvious. Too obvious. Try and make it less obvious. Attend classes, see your friends, let your life go back to normal. You will need to catch up on your studies, of course. Have your friends send you their notes. That will be a good enough start. You do have friends, don't you? I want to answer with pride, but that would belittle the memory of Lyra. Lyra was my friend. Your only friend. My silence tells Daniela all she needs to know, and the hard line is her mouth softens. Why do I need other friends? Because now you're all alone and you can't even leave your room. Maybe part of that was because of the circumstances, but Lyra's not made it easy for you to move on. I don't want to move on. I'll never forget Lyra. Forgetting is part of healing. Refocus your attention on things that grant life, not suck it out like a parasite. Lyra was not a parasite. I agree, but those who call her a friend are. Lyra becomes everything to you so easily, and you take from her more than you can ever hope to pay back. Isn't Daniela being oddly specific? Or was she just trying to get under my skin with accusations? We weren't like that. What did Lyra get from being close to you that no one else could give? I racked my brain, wanting to be something significant enough to prove her wrong. I can't think of anything on the spot like this. You see, you're just like a parasite, Joe. The moment Lyra plucks you off, your whole world shrivels into nothing. That's not productive, and you need to move beyond that existence. Making new friends will be a step in the right direction. Daniela's words sting, and I hate that I didn't lie that I had friends apart from Lyra. Was I really such a burden on Lyra? Lyra would have wanted me to lie and keep her memory dignified, not taint it with all these doubts. Sophie, do you remember her? The one with the purple hair, what about her? Ask her for her old lecture notes. She has penmanship like no other, and is always very thorough. Think about rejecting her offer, but seeing Sophie might prove to be more fruitful than continue to be humiliated by Daniela. Daniela zones out, the yellow glow of entering the hive mind emitting from her eyes. The glow flickers from left to right as she spells out her thoughts. She shakes her head violently with a sharp click of her tongue. What a cheap chick. Nah! What a cheap trick, locking her mind at a time like this. Lock your mind, you can do that. Sophie is a special kind of student, though if you were to apply yourself as she has, I do not see why you would not be able to. I have things to do now. Find Sophie yourself. Hey, Apex! Daniela turns her chair from me and I feel a tug at the back of my shirt pulling me towards the door. The door slams shut on my face and a deep thrum casts a protection spell across the whole thing. All this happens within seconds. If I'd had a second more, I could have pointed out one important fact that I was missing. How do I even know where Sophie is? Daniela. I decide to head towards the second-year dorms without any help from Daniela. The only lead I have to find Sophie is through that other student, Alice. I never thought I'd find any use for her dorm room. Maybe she can see the future. I knock on Alice's door with a little hope that this will lead anywhere. It's the middle of the day and most people are locked away in lecture halls and classrooms. I knew this would be a waste of time. Lyra was the only dependable thing about this place. She was always there when I needed her, and even before I needed her. I could trust her to steer me away from things that just weren't worth my time. Like this. This isn't worth my time. Joe! Water drips from Alice's hair and bare shoulders lean out the doorway. She ushers me forward with a wave of her hand, and my stomach knots to imagine what I would see if I accidentally get too close. I was hoping you'd show up even— Oh! Alice lets out a kittenish yawn, retreating back out of view. Sorry about that. Come in. Alice is caught in the twisted shape of shrugging her blazer on and yawning all the way while her hair is being blown dry by a magical gust of wind. Sorry, I had a bit of a long night. It's hard to sleep these days. Because of Lyra? Because of Sophie, actually. Oh, I didn't even know you two were. We're just friends, Joe. I can't even imagine. No, that would be so weird. Sophie is my best friend. I'd be scared to ruin that. I feel my face flushed, my assumptions called out. If I'd been more careful about how I treated Lyra, I wouldn't even be here. She'd be crashing in my dorm too, and being holed up inside wouldn't look so weird. Wouldn't have to fake being nice to the second year. I'm happy you finally took me up on my offer. I was telling Sophie about how we should get to know you better. Do you know where she is? Sophie, no, but I have a tracking spell for lost things. Would that be helpful? Alice searches under her pillow, her hand reaching in more deeply than it should. I step closer to see a small portal vortexing beneath her pillow. You've used a spell like this before, right? No, why should I? I would have thought... She trails off, leaning deeper into the vortex. I look away, seeing too much of what is underneath Alice's skirt. She probably knows. Lyra hated how I always gave people the benefit of the doubt, how I thought situations like these were probably an accident. I never realised how manipulative people could be until Lyra taught me all about it. Lyra would say that cute girls use the worst kind of tactics that are laughably degrading to everyone in the room. Not that Alice would get anything out of charming me, though. I'm thinking too much. Obviously, these things would only happen to Lyra. Alice could be putting up a mask that I don't suspect you of knowing anything about Lyra's murder. Not there, huh? Alice rushes across the room to look in her several drawers full of herbs and spell ingredients. Thought. Thought what? Alice looks around the room, biting her lip. Have you seen a green? Ah, I see it. She leaps up, and with the upthrust of wind magic is propelled high enough to grab hold of a green sachet. My whole face reddens. That kind of magic should never be done when you're wearing a skirt. Got it. Just what Joe ordered. Alice throws me a couple of sachets of green sand. Never used elementals in this way before, and I'm starting to see why Lyra didn't like this kind of magic. It looks so boringly simple, yet I have no idea how to use it. Magic that undermined her expertise that much would never have sat well with Lyra. How do I use it? I see. You're trying to prove I'm not being silly by pretending not to know. I'll play along then. Does she have to mock me like that? Why would I bother with herbal magic when I had such a great mentor like Lyra? When you think you're in the general vicinity, sprinkle some on the ground. It will lead you 100 steps in the direction of your lost thing. Is that it? Of course. You really don't know how to use it. That's so strange. Never needed to before. Not even to find Lyra. She disappeared a lot from what I remember. Always somewhere she shouldn't be, never where you'd want her to be. Is that a rumour about her? I don't listen to rumours. Then why would you say that? She's probably lying as one of the people that spread those awful rumours about Lyra in the first place. That's what Sophie always said, and she has enough proof. She'd disappear somewhere with Lyra for days, then show up and sleep for hours. I thought since you're so close to Lyra, maybe you'd notice it too. She can't have been with Lyra. She was always with me. I hated asking her to leave because she'd say you were trying to get rid of her. No. The moment I respond, my mind instinctively makes it a lie. Lyra did say that I was trying to get rid of her, but in a joking way. I never wanted to feel that way, so I asked her to prove it. I was always trying to prove I wanted to be her friend, but Alice didn't need to know that. This doesn't sound like a particularly healthy friendship, I have to say. Not at all. I can't quite lie, but I can't quite bring myself to tell the truth either. Quite. You didn't say no, so Lyra did guilt you by saying you were trying to get rid of her after all. Caught. Sophie said the same thing. She disappears, but I'm the one trying to get rid of her. If I were really trying to get rid of her, I would never have made this spell in the first place, but I had to know who she was with for so long. It was always with Lyra. I'm sorry, you wanted the silly spell, not all this extra baggage. Alice bagged up a small portion of the green spell for me. She has the most strained-looking smile on her face. Were you jealous? Before I can stop to consider how much that must have sounded, the question slips out. For once, Alice stays silent, despite being so talkative. For some reason, even though her smile is still plastered on her face, I feel that she's fuming. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Don't be, I was talking a lot of rubbish. Sophie and I have been in a really good place this past week too. It's almost like old times when we were beyond the wall. Alice giggles, but chokes on how hard she is trying to force it. Students of the Academy refer to our time before the Academy as beyond the wall. Does this mean that Alice and Sophie knew each other even before the Academy? Sometimes things happen for the better, like this spell, for example. If I've never made it to find Sophie, I would still be trapped in Wonderland. I'm always getting lost, and getting lost in Wonderland almost drove me mad. Oh, she's that Alice. Okay. What do you mean? Sophie made me a special place to go and relax. She thought Wonderland was a cute way to refer to it. She created a place? Yeah, Sophie's is like a whole new dimension. Alice pulls me towards the closet. From a distance, there seems to be nothing abnormal about it, not even the telltale glow of a spell pouring beyond. Inside the closet is a portal to a world as infinite as our own. I usually go berry picking, press flowers, and sometimes to take nice long naps where no one can disturb me. The weather's always beautiful. I guess being a Wonderland explorer is kind of like my hobby. Sounds like a really fun hobby. It was. I have to work up the courage to start doing it again really soon. There's still so much to explore in there after all. Even after being trapped inside for months, I haven't explored a fraction of it yet. I don't know how it works exactly, but Sophie has a lot of control. She can change the weather there just by willing it. As we near the closet, I hear a rattle and a whistle of wind coming from beneath the door, and I gasp. Alice smiles proudly at my reaction. How can Sophie sustain something so large? The amount of magic that it would take is exceptional. Sophie is exceptional, and you shouldn't underestimate her, Joe. There's nothing she can't do. Is this a threat? Why should we tell me about this place and not to threaten me? Lyra always said to be suspicious of a smile, and Alice is grinning so wickedly. She's implying that I'll be locked away if I ever got on their bad side. Perhaps I need to be careful with my words around Alice from now on and not ask more about Sophie and Lyra, even though I'm so curious. Would not knowing the details protect me from this twinge of jealousy within myself? But if Sophie and Lyra were close and Alice didn't like it, then maybe... I have a rising suspicion that Alice probably does have a motive to get rid of Lyra. I should probably get going. I need to find Sophie and other things. Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to stay a little longer, but if you're going, do you mind doing me a little favour? I guess I don't mind. Do I have a choice? The closet door is still rattling, reminding me how easy it would be to lock me away. This woman is the worst kind of person. I knew it! I get a good feeling from you, Joe. You're a good person. I don't know if I can say the same about her. Being with Alice makes me uncomfortable, and it's not just because of the creepy closet door. Side effect of it being gold, snizzes. I don't have time to question her more on why she's being so nice to me even when everyone thinks I hurt Lyra, unless she knows exactly what happened. If she had been jealous of Lyra, then... Alice walks away from the door and instantly became still. While she's distracted, I'm rooting through her drawers. I try and open the door. The doorknob keeps spinning and nothing catches the mechanism inside. Magic doors don't work like normal doors. She whispers from behind me and I jump right out my skin. I spin on my heels and she's not even left a hair between us. Her face is so close to mine as she tiptoes up to my height with that stupid smirk on her face. The key to unlocking them is an invitation. The key to keeping someone in them is a will. Too scared to ask what she means by a will. Feeling the fire of embarrassment and dread simmer under my skin. Here, make sure Sophie gets this. Alice presses a vial into my hand and doesn't let go. An unpleasant concoction of chemicals and floral hints wafts up out the bag. What is this? I want to pull my hand away, but Alice holds me tightly, and her big green eyes stare so joyfully into mine that I can't get my body to do the right thing. Sophie's been out since morning in the study halls. Working her mind so hard really takes its toll after a while, so she'll be needing this soon. I know she doesn't need me worrying about her like this, because she's so amazing, you know. Do you know, Lyra was the same. I'd worry about her if she didn't mind ping me, because she always did. I'd start to feel scared when she walked past me without saying a word, because it might have meant I did something wrong. Ooh, that sounds like a really toxic friendship. Sophie's a real prodigy, but the amount of magic she uses is dangerous. I've tried to tell her, but I'm just a silly herbalist. Alice's grip tightens in mine, clutching the vial of blue liquid so tightly I worry it will snap in our hands any moment. I never come close to Sophie's level, so anything she does seems scary to me, but this is different. Magic shouldn't put her in trance for so long, and I wish she stopped pushing her body so hard. Being put in a magical trance is dangerous, second-year student or not. So you do understand. I tried telling Sophie the same thing, but she said that if Lyra said it was okay, she just doesn't see the harm. Lyra taught her that? Lyra taught Sophie all kinds of spells. I know Sophie can do it, but they were so advanced. The kind you could lose your mind to if they went wrong. Sophie shouldn't be doing them, but she doesn't listen to me. So could you talk to her? Since you knew Lyra, maybe you could explain that she was wrong. If Lyra thought it was okay, then it's probably okay. I'm sure she had reason for teaching Sophie those spells. How can you be so sure? Because Lyra takes really good care of those she mentors. If she thinks Sophie was able to handle those spells, then she is. You need to have more faith in your friend, like Lyra did. Like Lyra, huh? If you say so. Alice pulls her hands away and casts her eyes to the floor. I have to go. Sure. Sorry I kept you this long. Bye, Joan. Okay. Alice. Lyra in two places at once? I wonder if there's an evil twin type situation going on here. That would be interesting. Oh, it's still cold. Have a break in, I don't know, 15, 20, and possibly make myself a hot water bottle because the heating is just not shifting. It's kind of cold. Not when no one else has it on. But yeah, this is definitely something weird going on here. Let's be out of there and on my way to finding Sophie. I have a bad feeling that something isn't right with Alice, but I can't say what. Her behaviour could very well be related to Lyra's death. Both Alice and Sophie were there, after all. I'm not smart enough to figure it out just yet, but maybe if I spend more time with them, one of them will let it slip exactly what happened that night. This is how I'll make it up to Lyra for letting her down so much. I want to be the friend she deserved. What's that? A soft song that sounds like someone humming in my ear cuts through the noise of the campus. Thankfully, it's voiced. It gets louder as I keep walking, and then just as suddenly disappears when I wander in the wrong direction. Can't be her. Lyra didn't sing. She was always too shy to do something she thought she was no good at. I've heard her in the shower before. The sound was always pitchy, but her voice alone was sweet enough to make a pretty sound. It sounds just like her, though. I follow the sound into the woods, knowing something isn't right, but my hopes keep rising the closer I get and the louder the song becomes. Is she alive? Could she have faked the whole thing? But if she did, she would have told me unless there was some reason she absolutely couldn't. If she isn't dead, she could be alive if... Joe? Lyra? Oh. I thought I saw you. What are you doing out here? It's not Lyra. I try to blink back my tears, and when that doesn't work, I turn sharply away from Apolline to wipe them in my sleeve. Apolline looks away, pretending to give me the privacy I need. If she really cared, she would just leave. I suppose you heard my heart song spell. So that's what it was. It's not surprising that the thing I want most right now is for Lyra to be okay, but what a cruel trick to do. I hadn't meant for it to reach so far. There was a cast of falcons I was trying to lure in and tag. What's the point in that? Corners of Apolline's mouth quirk up, and I feel instantly stupid for not keeping my mouth shut. Of course she's trying to bait me into conversation. She's nosy and will waste no time reporting everything back to Daniela, no doubt. I like to see whether the same one comes back. Don't birds always return to familiar spots? Not here. You rarely see the same thing twice in this place. Too many protection spells warding off bad omens, but I'm trying to see if there's a way to get around that. I want to prove that with a little faith, the things you take care of will come back to you without having it mean that something bad is going to happen. I don't like the idea that fortune always has disaster at her heels. My face feels blotchy but dry enough that I can hazard a guess at Apolline. She's staring up at the clear blue sky, not a cloud or bird to see. I stare for too long. She catches my eye with a knowing smack. Do you know how to get out of here? It's not too far back. You underestimate these woods. Students who think themselves fairies have booby-trapped it with crossings that warp space. Step through one of them and you'll be right back here in this clearing. It could take you hours before you make it out of this place if you're not careful of the crossings. Spotting crossings isn't hard. In theory, no, but it does take practice. I assume Lyra never made you practice? I didn't need to. Then I'll let you lead the way. I walk away in the direction I came from. I try to walk quickly ahead so Apolline can't follow so easily. Within a few moments she's gone and I'm by myself. I keep walking east towards the campus in a straight line. I spot two crossings and avoid them. Soon after I start to see a figure in the distance. You almost had it, Joe. You were following me? I haven't moved, actually. I thought it would be best to let you try before coming back to find you later if you didn't make it back. Most crossings lead back here eventually. Want to try again? This is a waste of time. You sound like Lyra. Because she was right. Wasting my time on working out a maze does not make me better at magic. No, but it makes you more aware of the magic around you. It protects you and keeps you from underestimating others by getting a better read. There was a first-year lecture on it last week. Did you go? I was sick last week. Can't bring myself to say that if it weren't for the bereavement leave, I would have lost it. I heard. That short sentence puts me immediately on edge. From who? They've been talking about me, thinking up more ways they can pin it all on me? I guess it isn't so shocking that you heard my song after all. I assumed most people would be in lectures making it safe to use a heart song spell in public. But since you're in the habit of skipping class now, it all makes sense. I wasn't skipping class, and using a spell like that for something as stupid as bird watching. Bird tagging, actually. Whatever, it's a reckless use of magic. I wouldn't call it reckless. It may not be what I expected to happen, but it worked out in the end. I've been worried about you. I wasn't sure if you'd appreciate me getting involved at all. Wouldn't have appreciated, and I don't now. I hold my tongue and don't say it out loud because I might need Apolline to get me out of these crossings. However, the only person I've ever needed is Lyra, and I'm not changing that now, even if it means I'm alone. I'd rather be alone if it means that I can stay loyal to Lyra and keep her memory alive. Follow me. Thankfully, Apolline doesn't push anymore and starts to lead me through the woods. As I'm about to walk through a meadow, she raises an arm to hold me back. All the clovers have 4 leaves. You need to keep an eye out for omens, Joe. I get better at spotting the correct crossings, and eventually Apolline lets me lead. We ride up back in the centre 3 more times before I get the hang of it. I start to wonder about all the things I never practiced with Lyra. We studied and she taught me lots of theories, but we never did things like this. Lyra never let me make mistakes the way Apolline does. It's just because Lyra was a better teacher. She knew how to help me avoid mistakes before they happen. Oh, that's a toxic way of thinking as well. You gotta make mistakes. I feel like you gotta let people make mistakes that they can learn from. If you don't make mistakes, you can't learn, and therefore, you can get really arrogant. All Apolline done is waste my time doing the same thing over and over again when she could have let me out already. You've made a lot of progress, Joe. At the rate you're picking things up, I could maybe start teaching you the heart song spell. I never learned an enchantment before. How does it work? Maybe if I can learn this, I can be capable of spells that will make the Book of Liars tell the truth. As you know, the heart song creates music that speaks from the heart. How it sounds is different to whoever hears it. What's difficult for beginners is learning how to open their heart with enough sincerity that the magic accepts the spell. Now I'm explaining the spell out loud. Maybe it was a reckless thing to do. I'm believing less and less this is all just a happy coincidence. She probably saw me and lured me into the woods with the spell. She probably wanted me trapped in it to further interrogate me, like how she tagged along to my dorm room that night. Apolline laughed at her mistake as if she'd told an hilarious joke. Goodness, Daniela would have chewed my ear off for such a mistake. Why did she look so happy for it? When you heard the heart song spell, what did it sound like? I heard Lyra. Sometimes it's an attractive thought to think that some things aren't really lost. Apolline nods as if she understands what I'm feeling. As if she could. There's no way she understands. She's just trying to win me over by appearing to be sympathetic. Let's carry on. We might be able to get you back for your afternoon seminar. Apolline takes the lead, and with no time, we both exit the woods and are back our path to campus. I was wondering, what did you hear in the heart song? If Apolline heard Lyra's voice as well, then Apolline might not be the person who did that to Lyra. Assuming Apolline tells me the truth at all. Can't hear anything. My enchantments have no effect on myself. If you teach me, you can find out then. Maybe. But there's no need. I know that all I want is others' happiness. I don't need an enchantment to tell me that. What a load of trash. I can't really trust her. You should put your happiness first. I will, when you do. I always do. And stop chasing after Lyra's ghost and be happy, Joe. Here, a good luck charm. Apolline tucks a feather in my pocket. Sparkly yellow dust falls from the leaves and rubs off on my hands when I reach it and touch it. Another enchanted item. Probably this weirdo is up to no good. Friend and a good luck charm. 2 large wings like a falcon sprout from her back. A sudden gust of wind pushes Apolline's body up into flight. Her right wing flaps quickly in my direction as if to wave, then she's gone, flying over the trees at a breakneck speed. I tear the feather from my pocket and throw into the forest. Don't need luck, and I don't need to be happy, not without Lyra. I rip open one of the green sachets, letting loose a jade cloud of powder. I only have 100 steps, right? The cloud starts to drift away. Following its direction, I stampede ahead towards study hall to find Sophie. Oh! I can see them today. I like the synchronized me and the emotes. That is cool. That would be better if my tea was hot. I'll get some fresh tea in a few minutes. How you doing, Havor? Thank you for the hydrating stretch. I work further into the study hall and feel like I'm stuck in the forest again. I don't think I've ever been to this place by myself before. Lyra had always led me through the labyrinth of bookcases and steered me away from the small enclosure of students. It feels like Lyra was isolating her. You know, if you always give people the answers, they don't know how to find them for themselves. She said this was the worst place to study, ironically. Most people do everything but study in this dreary place. When I'm deep enough... The sound effects in this are weird. When I'm deep enough into the rows of shelves, the misty green cloud starts to consolidate into it, dripping on the floor. Green footprints paint a path back in the direction I came from. I follow after it, feeling the once dry powder turn goopy and slick beneath my foot whenever I dare tread on it. I realise it's less like sand, and more like paint that some reckless monsters tracked all through the halls. It worked! Sophie turns away from her book and her glowing yellow eyes stare back at me, dulling long enough to acknowledge me without breaking her trance. There is a hollowness to her expression which frightens me, although I know it's nothing to worry about. So I've already got 6 achievements. That's pretty cool. We've got 3 items. I don't know, I'm kind of liking Apolline, even if there's something not quite right. Alice is creeping me out. Daniela, I feel, is putting too much pressure on themselves. And this lady is just slightly weird. We're just going to take a small break now. I know it's not quite halfway through, but it's cold. And I'm going to make myself a hot water bottle and some hot tea. And that should solve some things. So I'll run some ads so you're not missing anything. And I will be back in 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, I have a hot water bottle, cup of tea. Oh, hello, Jessie. I didn't not see you today because chat is working properly, which is good. Oh, I'm gonna message, hang on. Sorry. Alright. Okay, so this is still Sophie. There is a hollowness to her expression which frightens me, although I know it's nothing to worry about. Seeing Sophie like this now reminds me of how Lyra had looked that night. Her eyes wide, but drained of life. There was so much blood. An image I'd never be able to scrub from my mind. I shudder, trying to shake it away, but that sick feeling grips my throat. A disgust that rocks me to my core breaks all that I've worked hard to maintain, and my teeth cut into my lips. I clamp my hand over my mouth, breathing deeply through my fingers, fighting against the choking fear. Face it. If I just face it, it won't be scary anymore. My eyes are glued shut, but the fear doesn't go away. I pinch at my face, trying to stay together, trying to not look so inhumanly afraid. Calm down, Joe. Sit. I know it's Sophie's voice, but for a moment I want to imagine it's Lyra's. Sit. I want Lyra to be okay so badly I pretend anything was true if it would ease the pain and guilt. I squeeze my eyes shut and listen to the hum of the song from the forest. Freshest memory I have of her might be fake, but it's all I have. Holding on for dear life to the memory of Lyra's voice, I guide my breathing. I open my eyes. Sophie's back in her trance. Who keeps on studying while someone's having a breakdown? Lyra would never have been so cold. I get shivers looking at Sophie's dead expression and try nudging her. Sophie's body moves stiffly and flops back into position with each nudge, her eyes still transfixed on the magical runes in front of her. Some blank loose leaves are strewn on the desk along with some sort of canvas sheet. I have no choice but to sit and wait for Sophie to exit her trance. Ah, ow! Sophie sighs dramatically, finally releasing her mind from its trance. Whatever made her grunt in pain is satisfying enough punishment for the way she ignored me so long. Rude people don't deserve pity. You interrupted her homework. I think about the medicine in my pocket, but until I get what I need, I plan to hang on to it just in case. Someone this rude might say no to a request to borrow notes. Lyra believed in never showing your hand first, and above all, always have a bargaining chip. Did it work? Sophie finally speaks, looking at the blank canvas propped up against her book. Her brows sag in defeat before a cutting glare physically slices the canvas clean open again and again. I instinctively bolt upright and push my chair back with a screech, putting distance between me and Sophie's line of sight. Sophie flinches at the sound of my chair legs scraping against the wooden floor. She crushes her head between her palms and lays her head against the table. She mutters curses in the pages of her books, no doubt cursing me for disturbing her studies. You okay? As if you care. She's right, I don't, but I'm not heartless. Maybe I should just give her the medicine. Stupid canvas, stupid headache, stupid Lyra. Stupid Sophie. If I didn't need Sophie's help, I'd know what Lyra would have done. She would have slapped Sophie for insulting her like that. I'm the stupid one, not Lyra. Stupid me, the only thing I did was clench my fist. I should have done more. It's not Lyra's fault you're bad at this. Sophie glares at me and presses my lips together. I don't want to end up like that canvas. What use would I be to Lyra then? Everything is Lyra's fault. With that attitude, no wonder you can't do whatever it is. I look from the book to the canvas, not being able to see a relationship between either. What is this? Sophie raises her head and glances over at me. All over me. I can feel her glare, her gaze linger on my exposed skin like a pervert. I instinctively cross my arms in front of myself, little use as that does. Mind painting. I was beseeching muse, but they escaped. Sophie continues to sheepishly watch me even as I wriggle under her gaze. It seems like a waste of effort. Idiots use music when they don't need to. Idiots use magic when they don't need to, especially for something like chasing after a pretty thing. True idiots talk about things they have no understanding of. Sophie grunts painfully. She turns away and hides in the darkness of the book pages. Her voice becomes muffled, but she insists on speaking either way. Mind painting requires you to look for where your mind draws you and to open up your subconsciousness to the world. It's not chasing after pretty things, it's going deep into the darkness and saving the beauty. Saving? I guess that makes you some kind of glorified hero. I guess your mouth makes you a sarcastic nuisance. You... Sophie cuts me off as if she hadn't just snubbed me. So why were you looking for me? Who said I was? The last thing I want was just a rude person to think I want to be here, even though I do need to be here. The green paint on your shoes, that's how you find me, I assume. So it's just paint? Of course it is. How are you meant to paint your path towards a lost thing? What do you want? Notes. Miss Daniela said that I have to catch up on classes and that you're the person to see. I've told her to stop sending people over. She knows memories are subjective, and I don't want some random stranger walking around with mine. Memories? What do I even get out of helping you? Sophie breezes past my questions, and I see her eyes roam over my body again. What a creep. Does she think I'd show her interest for some notes I don't even want? So these are the types of people that hang out in the study hall. I'd never be able to thank Lyra enough for keeping me safe from perverts like Sophie. I think we're feeling a wee bit, what's the word I want? Subjective, objective. Clearly, we're very obsessed with Lyra. But yes, how's everyone doing? I am a bit warmer now. I have a hot water bottle and ridiculously hot tea that will not be getting drunk quite yet. But I feel warmer, so that's good. Might treat myself with a little chocolate in a bit. But anyway. Your pocket. What's in there? I put my hand in my pocket to grip the vial tight, wondering if now is the right time to show her. I don't get a chance to make my own decision as Sophie pulls my hand out of my pocket, revealing the vial. Ah, so that's why I've been sensing Alice on you. She tries to take the vial, but I hold on tightly to it. I still need the notes. I won't be able to concentrate if I don't have this first. Sophie has the look of a lizard in her eyes, the kind that so easily sprouts lies and slithers out of everything she promises. I don't trust you. After that night, how could any of them think I'd be silly enough to trust them? What do you have to lose? I've already lost Lyra. What I have left isn't worth it, I suppose. I unclench my fist and Sophie takes the vial. She sprinkles drops of it into her eyes and the throbbing in her temple like a maggot beneath her skin seems to disappear. Ooh, the description in this is extremely vivid. Ah, this is worth 1,000 muses. She makes such a show of it that I feel like I should look away, but the way her full lip mouth hangs open makes my gut tighten and I can't. She smirks, rubbing her eyes furiously before handing the vial back. I don't need it. Rather have it and not need it, though. Take the vial, not wanting to draw out this unnecessary conversation any longer. For one, her constant staring would make me do anything to hurry this along. Good girl. Sophie laughs, and I get that annoying gut feeling again. Why is she so insufferable? Sophie looks at her broken canvas. Now her headache is gone, perhaps she can understand how pointless the tantrum was. There's never any inspiration when you need it, but there's always a good Alice to remind you what's important. Even if I can't paint, at least I'll have Alice. I'd be a mess without her. I am grateful for Alice, but with Lyra gone, there's so much that's gone missing. I don't feel like myself. You feel it too, right? I don't feel anything like that. Oh, so nothing has changed? Nothing's been taken from you that defines you and makes you special, all because Lyra went flop? Isn't losing my best friend enough? You're right. I'm sorry. She meant that, as far as I can tell. Sophie strokes the canvas and has a sad look. I overreacted. You're her mentee, so of course you aren't just being flippant by saying you don't feel anything. Once a liar, always a liar, but maybe she's not as rude as I thought. I think I understand what you said about not feeling like yourself. I sometimes find it hard to even remember what being myself is like. Oh, I feel that hard. I get that. Although I said that Alice has kept me from feeling like a complete failure, the truth is only Lyra could help me through my art blocks. Lyra let me into her mind, knowing there could be serious consequences with that kind of magic. It's something only she would do. Lyra let Sophie do that? They could have lost their minds. Lyra never mentioned Sophie to me, even though Sophie was a previous mentee. So I wonder, am I sad that Lyra is gone, or I'm just mad that I can't create, because I don't have Lyra's mind as a playground anymore? Does she realise how awful that sounds? Maybe Sophie is actually just as rude and selfish as I thought. Lost their minds. I think there's something hinky going on in this magic school. Clearly. It feels very much like... I don't know if anyone's seen the show The Magicians, based on a book series. It feels very much like that kind of magic. Where there's like drugs involved and everyone's lying and... yeah. I liked it too. I never finished it. I think I got like 1 or 2... seasons in. The first season was great. Second season I think is where I sort of got lost, but then I think just got distracted and started watching something else, so I'll go back to it at some point, or I read the books first. Maybe there was a weird thing with the sort of that tall dude becoming king and then not being able to sleep with anyone from Earth. That was the last bit I remember. I don't know which season that was. That's what I remember. I mean, I remember there being a whole... Lord, sorry. I remember there being a whole thing in the first season about, you know, finding bits of a clock. And that was really cool. And then once they got into, like, the magical world, maybe it was season 3. And then, yeah, someone became the tall dude with the goatee. I don't know whether he had a goatee. He had a pointed chin anyway. Not the floppy haired dude. The other one with the dark hair. Became king, but then he couldn't sleep with anyone from Earth. Just the magic realm. That's the last bit I remember. Yeah, I should go and watch that again. I wonder what is on. Bear with me a moment where I just look up the missions and find out what streaming service it's on. There are 5 seasons. Okay. Sky Store, Apple TV, Sky, Microsoft. Okay. Well, I might have a DVD somewhere. Yeah, I don't remember how far I got. Hi, Ray. How are you doing? I'm playing. Jesse, I said hi when I came back from my break, just because you didn't hear me. Or are you going for lunch? Menu calendar reset. Purpose of neurotypicals requiring further direction in life. Ah! Oh, you're just going to get food. Good, good, good. I was going to say, this time I didn't not see you. I made specifics, you know, specificness. I was playing, you know, words. I can word. I can't word. But yes, happy New Year, Ray. Hopefully you had a good Christmas. Yeah, it's that weird beginning of January thing where, you know, people are still advertising jobs, but no one's getting back to you. So next week I might hear some things. But enjoy your food, Jessie. Hopefully it's not too chilly for you and you have tasty foods. And I will catch your stream later. Sorry I missed yesterday's. There was a whole thing with my grandpa. I got distracted. Charlotte, and you have been enjoying the famous Peep Show quote. Not a Peep Show fan, so you might have to enlighten me. I know of Peep Show. I may have watched some of it, but it's not my kind of humour. Butter the toast, eat the toast, shit the toast. God's life is relentless. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like toast. What I'm taking from this is that we should have toast. I had toast yesterday with baked beans. It was very good. No, day before I had toast with baked beans. Yesterday I had risotto. But toast is good. I like toast. I like toast at the moment because I feel nauseous a lot, and toast is good. -1 in your numbers. It is 3 for me. It's -27 for Mr. Corners, though. He's living up to his name. How much murder? Well, someone died at the beginning, fell off a balcony, was talking to someone, but we didn't see. That someone could have been disguised as me, main character, who actually looks vaguely like me, so that's fine. Or at least me when I was, you know. Yeah, when I woke up it was 0, but it wasn't snowing, so I'm sad. Looking at the weather map going, why is the snow not where I am? Why is the snow elsewhere? I need the snow to be over my bit of London. But it's not. Where's the weather gone? Weather. Let's see if it's moved. Oh! We might be getting... It's supposedly raining. It's too dark to see outside. It feels like -11 given the wind. Oh, I mean, Jesse, you wrap up warm. I like snow. You're heading to Finland. Well, that's good. I would go somewhere where there was snow, but that costs money, and I'm trying to save it at the moment. So yeah, we're trying to figure out who killed our friend. But at the moment, everyone is suspicious, and we're in a magic school, and then I sort of veered off into this feels like the show The Magicians. That's what kind of magic university it feels like. And I feel that that's sort of fair comparison, and then Havor had watched it, so we were discussing the weirdness of the law. But yeah. Yeah. Mr. Corners wins on it being cold. I have a hot water bottle now. It is fuzzy. So I am less cold because I've warmed up my core. My core was cold, and also my stomach is queasy. So I will probably be having some toast in a bit because I have bread. I picked up some on the way home on New Year's Eve because I went into the store for milk and I was like, oh, they've got tiger bread, so I have to get tiger bread fresh from the bakery. And also a baguette because, you know, tasty bread. So I have plenty of tasty food, but also I just want toast. So yeah, I don't know whether it's my medication making me feel sick, something I ate making me feel sick, or a bug. Or it could be all three. But it's better sort of sitting here with the hot water bottle on my tummy and playing a silly game. Because at the moment, we have managed to collect a cup of coffee, a magic potion, and a feather, and I have no idea what's happening. Yes, sleep well. I hope you stay warm as well, Mr. Corners. You know, don't freeze. I feel like -27 is not meant for human habitation. But yeah, this is Sophie. But yeah, you take care of yourself. And yeah, we'll be going for another hour and a bit. So hopefully we get a bit of story. And if I feel a bit better, then well, we might continue, but we might not. I don't think this is going to be like find love or die trying, though we finished the entire game because we were just so engrossed in it, because that took like a ridiculously long time. We went like 2 or 3 hours over for that one. This one, I am hoping, because we have like 6 of the achievements, that at least we can get to an investigation. That would be cool. But there's a lot of endings, I think. I don't know what ending we want. I would like to find out something that happened on stream. So, yeah. But it's good to have you all with me, and hopefully you're enjoying the dulcet tones of me reading you a story. And hopefully you've not got too sleepy. But yeah, I still feel like I'm getting into the groove of streaming. From New Year's Eve, forgetting to hit record. When I was doing my stream on Thursday, I hit stop recording instead of pause, so I ended up with 2 halves of a video that I had to join together. Luckily that was fine, I did that. This one, I managed to hit pause. To be fair, I was confused by the fact that my doorbell was ringing and I was like, oh, the button. But at least I had it recorded. So yeah, it's just, you know, getting back into the groove. And I was like, should I not stream today because I feel ick? And I was like, no, I need to stream. What should I stream? Well, I could do the Gosha one, then the alien thing. And then I was like, no, pick something off your random to-do list at least. Because I was trying to play Harold Halibut earlier and I just kept on getting distracted. I didn't even hit play on the game, I just kept on getting distracted. I do want to finish that one, it's taking an awful lot of room up on my hard drive. But I thought, pick this one, and at the very least, we might be able to get another achievement on random to-do list. And at the very least, cross off a game from 2023 off our backlog. Anyway, oh no, so I'm rambling. Okay, does she realise how awful that sounds? Maybe Sophie's actually just as rude and selfish as I thought. Who's being flippant now? So, do you still want these notes? You give them to me? I said I would. She doesn't move, however, and she doesn't say a word. We sit in silence. I can't wait to leave, but I also want her notes. Sophie finally rips out a sheet of paper and licks the top of her pencil. A long string of her spit stretches from her mouth like spider silk. That is disgusting. Very vivid sentence. The strand glints and glows as the pencil comes to life, writing all by itself. That throbbing maggot-like tension in her temple begins to come alive again, pulsating with each stroke. What's happening? Mind notes. I use my memories to record lectures, then the spell helps me translate those memories. So that's what she meant by memories. Do you learn this in second year? I'm a special case, as Lyra put it. I've learnt more than I should, but without Lyra, perhaps that will all stop. Maybe it's better that way. What else did Lyra teach you? My gut is twisting, thinking back to all the studying I've done with Lyra. How would she skip over the things she found boring? How she would skip over the things she found boring or condense whole chapters into a sentence. She never liked wasting time on small things, and she never taught me anything like this either, but she's done so much with Sophie. She taught me stuff we could do together, stuff I could do to other people. Why did she put it like that? She's making Lyra sound as big a pervert as her. I suddenly remember how Danielle's hive mind ping bounced back. Did she teach you to lock your mind? To the hive mind? No, she'd never shoot herself in the foot like that. Why would that be bad? Lyra had a lot of control over the hive mind. No, she didn't. No one controls the hive mind. They tell you this in orientation. You're right, but also very wrong. The hive mind is just a web of mind links. Each link is equal and has infinite connections to everyone. You can't control it. That's physically impossible. You can't scream inside your own mind, no matter how much you try. It all sounds the same. Yet, inside the hive mind, Lyra's voice always managed to sound the loudest. Didn't you ever notice that? I think about it, but Lyra's voice would of course sound loudest to me. I was always looking for it within the hive mind. When it wasn't her voice, I didn't care. I noticed. So you're like everyone else. I think that others notice too, but everyone follows her happily like rats following a Pied Piper, until Lyra's screaming hurts. Her voice always sounds safe to me. Not to me, so I learned how to cut myself off. I think that really pissed Lyra off. She would have used that to expel me if she didn't need me for her thesis. You're just a second-year student. Like I said, I'm a special case. I taught Lyra as much as I learned from her. My stomach started to hurt. All this knotting and twisting from talking about Lyra, about Sophie and Lyra would do that. I was special to her too. Basically, what happened, what I think is like, Lyra was using her and it was a really toxic friendship and kind of dangerous. So I'm in two minds about, I obviously don't want to be accused of murdering her because I didn't. But, you know, maybe it was a good thing that she's done if she was basically leeching off other people and abusing her privileges. Possibly. You know, feel free to let me know what you think about the story, or if you just think it's a silly story, let me know how you're doing, what you're playing, if there's anything interesting, any games coming out that you're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to playing some of my Christmas games. I bought myself with my Christmas money. At some point, I might just have to give myself a day during the week. One of the days I'm not streaming, just a day off and go, we're not doing any job hunting unless someone calls, and we are just going to sit and we're going to play something just for me and have a complete, you know, day. Maybe Friday. Maybe Friday is just a me day. And I can have homemade fish and chips, because that's always comfort food. I'm nauseous easing a little bit. I hate this. I want it to go away. I mean, it's great as diet, you know, like diet control, but you know, when you've been feeling nauseous for like 20 months, it's not fun. Or varying other kinds of, you know, stuff that doesn't make you want to eat properly. It's like I'm hungry and then I eat and then I feel nauseous. I can't win. Hence toast. Toast sounds very attractive right now. But also so is getting some warm tea inside me. Because that's the thing when you're cold, is if you have a warm drink, it warms you up from the inside as well as being trying to warm yourself on the outside. But tea's quite good if you're feeling nauseous as well. Anyway, let's get on with the story. No matter how many times I repeat this to myself, the knots get tighter. What made you a special case? Me? Lyra only mentors people she sees potential in. I was an easy mark. I'd been on the school's watch list for years. I didn't want to leave Valis beyond the wall, though, so I waited until we both got accepted. So I'm curious, what did she see in you? I don't know. It's a good thing Lyra has better taste in people than you do. What's that supposed to mean? It would be a shame for someone like you to waste their potential simply because they can't see it. Excuse me? I have potential? Didn't Lyra ever tell you that? She never shut up about all the amazing things she could see me succeeding in if I just pushed myself that little bit more. She never said that to me. Then I guess she'll just have to trust she saw something. If not your magical ability, then... She holds eye contact with me before raising her eyebrows as her glance plunges downward on me. The thread of spit snaps and the pencil falls on the table, lifeless once more. Looks like they're done. Sophie folds the sheet before handing it to me. You can leave now. The tight knot in my gut finally snaps. I snatch the notes from Sophie and storm out the study hall. My face feels hot and I hate how much I'm blushing. I don't dare look back to find Sophie staring at my legs or the bareness of my throat. She's the worst. It's interesting how it's modelled as being perverted. That word has been used at least 3 times. Just because another girl is looking at her. I think it says a lot more about, well, my character, not me, that she sees that interest as perverted. Because if it was a guy, would she feel the same way? You know, when guys do it, it's normalized. Not that it should be normalized, you know, but there's nothing wrong with appreciating the physical form. Like, leering at it, yeah, that's wrong. But just looking? I don't know. Feels vaguely homophobic. That's what I'm getting at. I don't need that kind of sickness as well as me actually feeling sick. It's weird. It could be internalized homophobia, which case this is a writer. You know. Would it be different if she found Sophie attractive? She was implying there was something going on between her and Alice as well. It's weird. It's just I'm just really noticing it because it's very different from like the romanticides that I read, because you know it's all sort of consensual and not homophobic, and also not written by men. I don't know if this is written by a man. I'm just saying it's feeling, you know, like it's been written by a man, or possibly a very straight woman. Getting, you know, tinges of weird homophobia. Which is the complete opposite of like how The Magicians was. The TV show anyway. You know, they were very sexually flexible, as far as I remember. God, I remember there's like a whole bit in a school as well. There was like a thing with a clock, and there was a whole bit in a school with a blonde-haired girl. And then at some point they go to a magical realm, and then the dark-haired dude with a pointy chin becomes king. It's like definitely not YA. It's like an adult, vaguely pornographic version of Narnia. And considering that Narnia is based off, you know, religious stereotypes, is interesting. Very interesting. I was reading an article, essay, thoughts, musings about that this morning. Well, it was about coming back from a magical world, you know, having like succeeded as an adult and suddenly being back in your childhood body. And I was like, well, that sounds very much like Narnia. And also Sean Maguire's Wayward Children series. So there was a whole, you know, discussion on that. It's very interesting. Sometimes I find new books to read. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting distracted again. She's powerful, but definitely a pervert. This character looks like you. Yeah! It's like I've called it Joe, because, like, vaguely, but, you know, wrong kind of eyes for me. Mine are brown. Those are more green. Yeah, unnerving. Also, she keeps on calling other girls perverts because they look at her, and it's like, that's not what a pervert is. Really, you're overusing. This is like the 4th time she's used that word. What could someone like her teach Lyra? What did Lyra see in her that she didn't see in me? She's very insecure. Sophie. The moment I get through the door, I flop down on the bed. I think I might have pushed myself a little too much today. Yeah, exactly. You know, you just basically met someone. They looked at you appreciatively. Does not make them a pervert. I feel like it's like, you know, like calling someone gay used to be an insult in the 90s when I was growing up. Yeah. It's like, oh god, if they're actually a pervert, then yeah, that's a perfectly acceptable word to use. Not just because a girl looked at you. That will make her a pervert. Considering you literally just met her like a week ago. And then, like, seen her like twice. I feel like the main character, who I've called Joe and now I regret, was called Sydney, I think, before I changed it. Feels very insecure. Had a toxic friendship with her mentor. Feel like she was possibly being used there. Isolated from her peers, doesn't have any friends of her age. You know, now she's trying not to be a suspect in her mentor's murder. I don't think she did it unless there's something we didn't see. Maybe there's some time travel involved. It could be. There's a magic university. But, you know, she's suspicious of everybody, and anyone that shows even a vague bit of, you know, interest in, you know, acknowledging that she exists is suddenly a pervert. I mean, I'm fairly certain one of them is dealing magical drugs. One of them is, you know, trying to influence people with their mind, but that doesn't make them perverts. And certainly not the nice young lady that has clearly been exploited and actually, you know, helped you catch up from your lectures. So yeah, I have feelings about these narratives. But yeah, so just thinking, yeah. No, I was gonna look up. Hang on, I had the site. And I was gonna look at the press kit. So, Quill Game Studios. Producer, narrative director, writer, artist, lead developer is Willie Susan. Oh no, lead writer is Ash Dogma. I really can't make assumptions. Ash is an NPC in Dragon's Dogma. Right, so that is obviously a pseudonym. So I can't tell whether they are. So I can't tell, you know, why they're vaguely homophobic in their writing for this. I think I might have pushed myself a little too much today. And for what? I haven't learned anything useful, and the person who did this to Lyra is still going on about their lives as if nothing had happened. Sooner or later, this whole mess will be pinned on me, I can feel it. After getting to know Daniela, Apolline, Alice, and Sophie, I know it has to be one of them. You've literally met them twice. And once was just after your mentor had died. Judgy McJudgeson here. Ooh, his stomach's feeling better though. But I'm no closer to knowing who it was than when I first started. If Lyra ever saw potential in me, then it's not in spotting the monsters in people. In fact, she's done all she could to protect me from such things. She protected me from the harsh words of Daniela, the coy presumptions of Alice, the manipulative mollycoddling of Apolline, and the irritating perversions of Sophie. Okay. To imagine all of this happening under my nose, it's thanks to Lyra I was safe from it all. Ooh, Daniela has sent you a calendar invite for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Jo has accepted and sent a response. She didn't want to see me before, and now she's suddenly so interested. Could this be about Lyra or just my schoolwork? It said because from tomorrow she's going to be your mentor, therefore that's her being organised. You're judging people! She's probably going to check that I went to get Sophie's notes and didn't just crawl back into bed. I take out Sophie's mind notes and want to be prepared if Miss Daniela starts quizzing me on it during a meeting. I spend some time studying through the sheets of perfectly transcribed notes. Sophie's mind recorded everything, even the intervals of the lecturer's coughing fits. Huh? I turn over the last sheet of notes and the letters suddenly change. They become large scrawls, almost illegible in how they overlap. I make up the odd word or phrase, but none of it makes sense. Lock her. Find. Give back. Chase. Lock away. Her. I'll keep her. The last one is the only thing I'm sure of. Either way, it all gives me a bad feeling about this. Who was Sophie thinking about? Is this about Lyra? These were Sophie's memories, but Daniela was the one that sent me to get them. Was she trying to tell me something, to threaten me? Alice was threatening me. Are they going to lock me in the Wonderlands? I need to find the truth about Lyra that night. Ooh, okay. We're going to save. Okay, so... who should I investigate? Sophie. Sophie is one of Lyra's former mentees, but she seemed callous towards her relationship with Lyra. She was always so creepy, the way she kept watching me. She must have been looking for something, a weakness in me that she could use to catch me off guard and do to me whatever it is she did to Lyra. I'll find Sophie and I'll beat her at her own game. My meeting with Miss Daniela can wait. Tomorrow I'll find Sophie's weakness and use it to get her to tell me everything she knows about what happened to Lyra, no matter what. I walk around following vague clues from other students. There is a split between those who seem in awe of Sophie and those who seem angered the moment I mention her. It almost reminds me of the polarizing opinions of Lyra. When the rumours of Lyra stealing magic from mentees had spread widely, Lyra stopped using the hide mind just to avoid hearing anything about it. She only wanted to hole up in my room and we rarely leave unless we needed to. I could tell she felt hurt. So, before I finally asked Lyra directly whether the rumours were true or not, I first asked a few of the second years for more details. A group of second years had started the room in the first place, but I found that many students staunchly defended Lyra as well. At the time, I didn't get anywhere by asking the second years. It was simply hard to know who was adding to the fire and who was simply fanning the smoke. The same can be said now. The vague consensus was Sophie was somewhere with a picnic basket and a girl. Apparently it was nothing new. Sophie was always with a girl. The same girl? Shrugs all round. Some think so, some think not. All they know is that Sophie is always with a girl. Eventually one of these clues puts me on the right path. I hear them before I see them, a dramatic or raspy voice cutting through the silence along with a lower hum. The second years mention that Sophie is always with the same girl. Of course it's Alice. Removing her armour, Helga stood before her beastly bow, exposing herself completely to her whims. Should the binds break, Marie's monstrosity of a tongue could do far worse to her than slither along her throat. Hey up! A muffle and a murmur break Sophie's reading as Alice holds a macaron to Sophie's mouth. Sophie chomps down on it, catching the tip of Alice's finger. The two laugh. A gentle lick makes Alice pull away before pressing her forehead against Sophie's and chiding her jokingly. Am I going to be interrupting something? I mean, they're reading porn. But I've come this far, and they're not the easiest to find, plus they can definitely see me walking that way already, so I'm not catching them by surprise. You should be more careful next time. Oh, so it's my fault you've decided to be a beast again. You bring out the worst in me. You're thinking of someone else, Sophie. I only bring out your best. You're right. Want to hear more? Sophie turns the page. Not sure. It's getting a bit intense. It's the best part, though. Alice, a full moon, a beastly curse that can't be broken, and all this time hiding it from the one you love the most. You can't tell me that doesn't move you. If you really have to. Sophie settles back into her story. There's a silence as she finds her place and picks up where she left off. Alice doesn't seem to be listening and fiddles with Sophie's purple bangs. Oh, this field is larger than it looks. It's taking me forever to reach them, but I swear they should have seen me from ages ago. Maria's eyes shone with an ancient hunger, vacillating between her humanity and satisfying the call of her curse. Bloodlust and literal lust marbled in the heart of her desire for... Alice threads and moves her fingers through Sophie's hair. Sophie stops reading, waiting with her mouth half open for another treat. Alice bites off half, and the other half is dropped in Sophie's waiting mouth. Alice stares intently at the purple tresses in her hands. I'm certain that the intense parts of the story Alice complained about were completely ignored. She seems to be so tuned out from Sophie's story that I'm surprised when she suddenly looks up and catches my eye. I promise you, Alice, you won't want to miss this next part, trust me. Oh yes, it was getting a bit, but that wasn't what I meant. I meant, it's Joe. Alice points at me. Sophie sits up begrudgingly with the sour look on her face that only worsens when she sees me. Alice waves me over, as if in response, Sophie throws herself back down onto Alice's lap with a sulky huff, hiding her face behind the book. I walk towards them, realizing how far I am from school and how silly it must look for me to be here by accident. I muddle some lies together, but nothing convincing is created, and I hope neither of them care enough to question me about it. What are you doing all the way out here? Shoot. Just on a walk. Liar. Sophie growls loud enough for me to hear, but just quietly enough for it to seem like an accident. Alice pokes Sophie's side, not letting her get away with it. She is lying, Alice. Sophie sulks, twisting her body away from me and deeper into Alice's lap. Alice follows my gaze to Sophie's hand tucked beneath her thigh and as casually as she can removes it. Sophie finds a new place for it tucked beneath the pleats of Alice's skirt. She's joking with you, Joe. Come sit with us. I look at Sophie, expecting more fight, but she reads her book silently. I'm glad to see you again, Joe. Me too. Sophie glares at me through the corner of her eyes, gripping Alice's skirt before returning to her book again. Do you want something to eat? Alice holds out a plate of pastries. I take a cream bun and she takes one of the macarons. I pretend to be very absorbed in eating the cream bun, knowing this is some sort of civil distraction. Sophie bites her lip and for once says nothing. Is she embarrassed because I'm here? The level of PDA from Sophie doesn't lessen, though. It probably would have gotten worse if Alice's coldness didn't stop her. We sit together, nibbling on our pastries. Alice smiles at both Sophie and I in turn, purposely refusing to speak until one of us acknowledges the other. We're going to outstubborn each other, I think. Silent war rages on, and I drown in the awkwardness of it. I have to say something, otherwise what was the point in coming here? Still, I'm no detective, and finding the right words to say isn't easy. It's even harder with all this pressure from Alice and the silent hostility from Sophie. What book are you reading? I crack and say something. I just hope it's enough to get Sophie to stop treating me like I'm the unwanted third wheel I am. Lyra never really showed you the Inferno Insignia series? I've seen her read it, but I didn't know that it was about, maybe you weren't friends after all. What does the book have to do with that? Sophie means that Lyra really liked the series, and they found this book in her satchel when they, got rid of the body. I blink back the shock at what Alice is implying. But isn't this what I want? Information? No matter what information is, I should keep calm. Oh, she never mentioned the details to me. It must have been you. No? 6th book in the series. She'd been reading it for a while, maybe even rereading it. Talked about lots of things. She might have mentioned it, I just forgot. If Lyra liked it, it must be a good book. With at least a well-thought-out plot and character arcs. She loves things that worked on a deeper level. What's it about? The whole series deals with complex curses, each more devastating than the last. Over time, the curses have grown stronger, and no one has any idea how to control them because they killed everyone new. Now the world of Argenia is infested with the strongest and most vile of the cursed, who vow to take revenge on them all. It's just an erotica, Sophie. No one reads those for the plot. It isn't. Were you even listening to the story, Alice? You weren't, were you? Alice! I did listen to the okay bits, but it's so graphic. Plus, if Lyra were reading it, I doubt it had any real deeper meaning to it. How do you know that if you weren't even really listening? I listened to the parts I liked, but then it got so boring just then. Can't you skip the boring parts? Boring? You're just about to express their carnal love for one another. How is that boring? It's boring. Those scenes all sound the same. It's like the author wrote it just to show off. That's boring. Spot the asexual, possibly aromantic. Like, who reads erotica for the plot? It's like saying you read Playboy for the articles. They should show off. They're an amazing writer. The book should be called Self-Gratification of an Egoist, then. Doesn't really make sense as a name for a novel. Neither Alice or Sophie seem to notice me at all. The author was trying to convey our shared experience of knowing how easy it is to forget and even kill the people and experience that have helped us grow the most. I still don't like it. It's a good book, Alice. Maybe, but you could have better things than that toilet paper, something with real meaning. And what if I can't? You have before and you can again. You just have to be patient and think of this as an art break, not an art block. Neither sound titillating. Sorry, Your Highness, not everything has to be romps and parties. You need to learn to slow down, to take things for what they are, and stop wishing they were someone else. This is turning into an argument. I look at the two of them, wondering if I should leave, but voices aren't raised so as to cause alarm either. Rather, it's the tone and the sarcastic choice of words that do. What if I want to have everything without needing to slow down? What if the fool is the one who settles for half, and the hero the one that risks it all for their lion's share? And what if Lyra hadn't turned you into a pretentious pervert who only reads smut? You might have gotten out of this art break sooner. Pervert? Lyra wasn't like that at all. So reading erotica does not make you a pervert. Finally, I speak up. It's not like I have much leeway to cut into their increasingly snarky conversation. Maybe I read her wrong. It's just that she always had this look on her face, like she wanted to eat you alive. Alice laughs, tickling Sophie's side. Sophie kicks and snorts, trying to fight Alice off, but so weakly. Tickles become caresses as belly laughs die down to giggles and snickers. The two move closer, gazing at one another. Well, that didn't last long. The two have relaxed back into each other's embrace, just as I saw when I approached before Alice put an end to their excessive amount of PDA. Can't they get a room or something? They're in the middle of a field, mate! Didn't Alice say they were just friends? Not confusing at all. Not that it's my business, I don't care. Of course you don't. You've just spent the last 3 paragraphs musing about it. I look away. Never mind Alice's accusations of Lyra and pervertedness. I feel like a pervert for just being here. I don't think that is what you think it means. Lyra and I were never like that, especially not in public. She liked when I walked just a few paces behind in case I needed to leave. Sounds so toxic. She was always thinking up solutions to help me. She would give me an escape route from social situations since she knew how shy I got when people rushed towards her. On the opposite ends of the spectrum, there's these two. Hot, then cold, then lost in their own little world with one another, as if I weren't even here. I had wondered if Alice had been purposely seductive when I was in her room on the way to look for Sophie the other day. At the time, I'd chalked it up to me thinking too much due to remembering Lyra's warning about people like this. But seeing how close she is with Sophie, who is blatantly perverted, it suddenly clicks how Alice is like to be more similar to Sophie than not, even if it's a different kind of weird, like 2 sides of a coin. On another note, what Alice said about Lyra is gnawing at me. You're saying that Lyra would look like she wanted to eat you alive, huh? This really is the pot calling the kettle black. Alice the pot and Lyra the kettle. The two couldn't be more different in this situation. Sophie strokes Alice's cheek, but the blonde comes to her senses and winces away from the touch. I agree, Lyra was an absolute beast of a woman with an appetite to match. Well, Alice can be similar to Lyra in some ways, but not in terms of appetite. Alice here has no appetite at all, and when she does, she's more dormouse than pussycat. Called it. Alice sticks her tongue out to the other, but seems amused by the comparison. Sophie gnashes her teeth mockingly, but truly looked like she would eat Alice alive if she let her. Liking sex does not make you a pervert. Anyone that thinks that is clearly repressed. And also homophobic. Which is kind of making me not want to continue with this story. So, I say I object to the way this is being framed, but I really do want to find out if we're going to find out who killed Lyra and why. I'm just going to skip these bits. Alice rolls her eyes and softly punches Sophie's cheek. I was always with Lyra, and she and I didn't notice anything like the appetite you talk about. Joe probably liked it then. Probably had a crush on her too. I'm so sorry I didn't realise. No, we were friends. She definitely didn't see me that way. I'm not fully sure how much truth this statement holds, but in the moment it's safer than saying anything else. Oh, so she rejected you, tough call. We weren't like that, okay? Lyra was like that with everyone. You had to have noticed the way she acted around people. Wasn't she always hanging off you, Sophie, or the kissing and hugging and sitting in your lap? You were her student. She should have known better. She never did things like that to me. Or maybe a little. I mean, there were the times we cuddled in my bed when Lyra's magic was weird, but definitely not to the extent Alice's sake. I wonder if someone's been messing with her mind. My chest tightens. Even though remembering those moments with Lyra should be happy and warm, why does it feel like I want to bolt away to shut the lid on these memories? I feel like what I want to slam the lid on and lock away is the knowledge of Lyra having done those things with Sophie, that she was so close with someone other than me. There's some seriously wrong, toxic jealousy going on as well. Anyway, I'm glad Lyra hasn't done those things to you, Joe. You see, Lyra's royally corrupted Sophie. Now I get a dead leg every time we have a picnic because of all the things Sophie was used to with Lyra. If you don't like it, I won't do it. I didn't say that. I want you to be comfortable, and I don't mind most of the time. I just wish you wouldn't expect these things when people are around. I don't want people to get the wrong idea about us, or you. Alice turns away from Sophie and busies herself with pouring a cup of tea, avoiding both our eyes. You don't want me to touch you, then I won't. Alice gives a weak smile, a hand shaking and the teapot lid rattling as she shrugs. Sophie noted Alice in a way that's clearly attention-seeking. Alice's balance is thrown off for a moment, the teapot teetering. Thankfully nothing spills. I can't make tea like this, Sophie. I'm not like her, Alice. Don't make me out to be like her. You have to know that. Then stop acting like her. Their voices are low, as if both of them are trying to hide their conversations from me in stage whispers. So when we're all having a conversation, they're in their own world again. Like before, it's still difficult to just up and leave. Not that they would care if I left. I'm trying, Alice. You know that I don't want to act like Lyra on purpose. It'd be easy if I could write or paint or anything, but she's in my head and it's been hard getting over this art block without her. I'll try harder, I promise, and then we'll be back to normal, won't we? Alice nods enthusiastically. Sophie squeezes her hand, happy to have finally said the right thing. Lemon or cream, Joe? Huh? The two of them stare at me as if what looks like a lover's quarrel hadn't just happened right before me. Alice waits expectantly for my answer, teacup in hand, an insipid smile slapped in place. Lemon, please. Alice pours me the tea, and for once both of them sit in silence. It's not uncomfortable, however. Without the distractions from Sophie and Alice, I have some time to mull over what I've learned about them in relation to Lyra. I sip on the tea intermittently, hating the tartness of it. The lemon, unfortunately, makes it so much worse. Thinking about Lyra and Sophie doesn't help either. I try and picture the two together, but Sophie's nothing like Lyra. The way Sophie had described them together feels wrong. She hugged me and liked the odd kiss when she was feeling really down, but it was nothing like what Sophie had made it out to be. Yes, I knew Lyra didn't see me that way, but what about me? I want to curl up and lie down, but only to stop myself to avoid any questions from Sophie and Alice. Regardless, when I had reciprocated Lyra's affections, it was always of my own accord. Sophie was Lyra's mentor before me, and from what they said, mentee before me, and from what they said, Lyra taught Sophie so much more than she taught me. So Lyra must have spent so much more time with Sophie, probably more than she did with me. Now Alice is saying that Sophie and Lyra had that kind of relationship. I sigh, my heart sinking. But maybe between Sophie and Lyra, Sophie was the one that initiated everything. That would explain if things were much more escalated, as Alice said. Sophie was only her first year when she was mentored by Lyra. Lyra couldn't have been so easily dominated by a younger student, but what other reason could there be for what happened between these two? If it even happened. I shouldn't take their word for it. They both have their reasons for making Lyra out to be some kind of... For once, Sophie herself has an ego. Lyra probably rejected her, for which Sophie would certainly hold a grudge on. And even though Sophie initiates more PDA with Alice, Alice seems like the one infatuated with Sophie than the other way around for some odd reason. She'd definitely side with Sophie if I disagree with anything. These two are a total disaster. I can't trust anything they say. There you are, Sophie. Sophie shrugs at a puzzling, surprised tone. It's where I've been for the last 3 hours. Well, you're not an easy person to find, but I think you know that. Starting to doubt my abilities at the moment. You're the second unwanted guest today. Apolline smiles in my direction, taking in the whole picture. The three of us eating pastries and drinking tea might look nice and pleasant, but that's only on the surface. It's good to see you out and about, Joe. Being stuck inside for so long can't have been nice. I've been out. Apolline chuckles, and I get the feeling she knows I'm lying. Is she keeping tabs on me? I feel bad breaking up your picnic, but Daniela needs to see you, Sophie. I just spoke to her last night. I'm not wasting another night going over the same spells. It's a dead end, and she'll be the next dead body if she keeps trying. I've said the same, but without Lyra, you're the only person whose opinion she respects. She has a messed up way of showing it. We'll speak to her, Sophie. Fine, I need to walk anyway. Sophie goes to stand, but is held in place by Alice. Her hand rests on Sophie's cheek, tucking her hair behind her ear, the two whispering. Sophie breaks away with a pat of Alice's head. Be back in a second, Bunny. Alice puffs her cheeks out and turns her back on a cheeky kiss. Sophie blows her way. I look back and forth between Sophie and Alice. Finally, I don't need to look at their PDA. This is great. Apolline and Sophie take their lead. With Alice alone and clearly annoyed at Sophie, it might be an opportunity to get her to open up to me. Alice seems to trust me more, but whatever Daniela wants from Sophie has to be something really important too. Okay. Who do we investigate? Keep on with Sophie, I think. I decide to invite myself along with Sophie. Oh, you're leaving too? I was meant to meet Miss Daniela for a meeting today. I should probably go as well. Oh, alright, I guess I'll pack up by myself. I have to remind myself that Alice is still a suspect in this. No matter how guilty I suddenly feel about leaving her alone like this, she's not my concern. Lyra comes first. Still, there's something sad and pathetic about seeing her alone, surrounded by half-filled teacups and an organised plate of macarons. I push it out of my head and press forward, following behind Apolline and Sophie. Apolline walks 2 paces ahead of Sophie, who drags her heels as if daring Apolline to slow down to match. Sophie acts like such a brat. I decide not to call out to them, not wanting to be wrapped up in Sophie's sulking and Apolline's prying, and something strange happens. Not super strange, it's a place full of magic users after all, but Sophie slowly begins to disappear. If anything, it seems more suspicious than strange. One limb at a time, Sophie starts to fade. Like a mist in the wind, a gathering of clothes and a bob full of purple hair stride forward into nothing. Where's she going? There's only one way to find out. I reach forward, grabbing onto the sleeve of a blazer just as it fades. With a sinking sensation in the pit of my stomach, my whole being is pulled forward at nauseating speed. Is this the balcony that had happened? What the hell are you doing? If I'm honest, I had no idea what I was doing. Why did I follow this horrible person like that? Hey, Hara. You weakened my spell. I can still see that damn kiss ass there. Sophie yells. Apolline is still walking the campus path below, seeming none the wiser that Sophie snuck away. I saw you disappear, and then Why were you following us? Why didn't you stay with Alice? Now she's by herself. She's going to be so upset. I only left because you were there. Is that what they were whispering about? Speak up, then. Why did you leave Alice? I needed to see Miss Daniela too, so I thought I'd come along. Then why the hell are you here? I tried to throw together a lie, but all my mumbling and hesitation lights a spark behind Sophie's eyes. You didn't want Daniela. You were following me. Why? No, I really did have to see Miss Daniela today. But instead you come on a picnic with me, so you ditch Daniela to find me, and then you ditch Alice to follow me. You see how this all looks, right? You stalking me or something? I wouldn't do that. What would I want with you? That's what I want to know, so cut to the chase. If this is about Lyra, then just come out about it. Why would it be about Lyra? Has to be her guilty conscience talking and jumping to conclusions. Why else would she mention Lyra? What else would we have in common? I don't know you at all, and yet suddenly you have a real interest in me. That or you've got a huge crush on me. Don't flatter yourself. Then it is about Lyra. Fine, it is. Finally, some honesty. So what do you want? What really happened to Lyra? You saw for yourself she fell. That's not what Alice was saying. Alice isn't exactly a fan of Lyra, and she doesn't know how to separate her opinion from reality sometimes. I'm sure if you ask Alice the same question now, she would agree with me. What's changed Alice's mind since then? It's only been a week. She has more clarity on the situation now, and she isn't letting her ego get the best of her. Ego? How would this affect someone like Alice? She's the last person, I think, to have one. As if you know Alice. Some people have egos about how many girlfriends they have, others about how smart they are. People can have egos about anything. Sounds like she's talking from her own experience. For example, even something like being the good woman or pure maiden, that's Alice. Lyra wasn't cut from that kind of cloth. For Alice's ego to reconcile with some sort of moral difference between her and Lyra, she came up with this idea that Lyra jumped. Alice's theory was that all of Lyra's impurities caught up with her, so she'd rather die than face the monster she was becoming. Lyra wasn't that kind of person, though. If Alice had known that, she wouldn't have gone around making baseless accusations like that. Lyra obviously fell. No harm, no foul, so leave it alone. No harm? It's dead. I clamped my hand over my mouth. I said it. Feels like I can't breathe. Tears well up, and as much as I try and blink them back, they overflow. I was so angry that I wasn't thinking, and I said it. Now no amount of denial can take back that truth. Lyra's dead. Sophie rolls her eyes, groaning at me with her hands thrown up in the air. I'm wasting time here. Sorry, I really like the little frog emote. It's cute. I'm wasting time out here. Do what you want and believe what you want. I'm out of here. Sophie starts to disappear, clearly intending to leave me on the rooftop. But I need to find out more. I lunge forward, knocking into Sophie's almost transparent form, and a whoosh drags me along for the ride. Our bodies crash into pink chairs, upturning them on the floor. Sophie's arms wrap around me, blocking the showering of glasses that fall off the table with her arm. Sophie's too close, and the tears rolling down my face make me feel suddenly exposed. I've cried for Lyra before, but I've never been this close to someone while doing it. This whole week, I've never had the comfort of another body so warm and so alive. It makes me feel like, despite the pain over Lyra, it isn't worth wishing I was dead like her, because it's a reminder that maybe there's more I have to live for. I grip Sophie's sleeve, my voice shaking as I speak. Don't you care what happened to her? Of course I care. I cared a lot about Lyra. I believe her, but I try and remind myself about how this arrogant pervert could say anything right now to take advantage of my vulnerable state. I wish I could have helped her, but it wasn't my place. I didn't know her well enough. No one did. I did. Sophie smirks, rubbing away my tears with a pad of her finger. I flinch back, knowing how stupid it is to let her touch me, and yet oddly comforted by the heat on my cheeks. If I can't hug Lyra or have her wipe my tears away, I can let this moment be, even if it is Sophie and not her. You think you really knew Lyra, then you're a bigger idiot than you look. Huh. And she went and opened her mouth. I shoved Sophie away, getting up and brushing my clothes off. I look for the shards of broken glass, but there's nothing. 2 perfect glasses stand on the table, and the floor is completely clean. Did Sophie do all that without so much of an incantation? As awful as she is, that's impressive. Sophie grabs one of the glasses and water fills it out of thin air. She chuckles to herself, drinking while she watches me from the corner of her eye. You really think you knew Lyra, huh? You're more arrogant than I am. She's my friend, of course I knew her. Anyone who knew Lyra would never make the mistake of thinking she was ever honest with them. We saw the parts of her she thought we'd like the most. Lyra could smell the types of desire on us, so she could be the embodiment of that desire. Apparently she thought, a person? with a good taste in books appealed to me. What kind of person was she with you? She wasn't faking it. What wasn't she faking? She made me feel at home and took care of me. I never had time to feel lonely because she was always there, ready to make me smile. She was playing the long con with you then. That explains a lot about you, know. What Lyra said about you seems accurate. Did she say I was a good friend? If she was always there for me, there must have been a reason, right? She said you were lonely and lost. You wanted someone to hold your hand through the scary parts. Someone you could feel safe with. I didn't believe that. Fuming, I try and flip back on Sophie. How did she act with you then? Hungry, desperate? A bit of a hopeless romantic, but 2 out of 3 isn't bad. It's funny how drastically different she acted around each of us. That must have been an exhausting charade to keep up. Maybe death really would be kinder. Horrible person. I can take that. I'm not afraid of the monster I used to be, Joe, but you are. Lyra certainly was. Because you're selfish, cruel, and... I was never selfish. I admit to my faults, but being selfish is not one of them, so don't you dare say otherwise. Lyra was selfish, but I never was. You sure? Seems like a hit soft spot on you. I wasn't selfish like her. I wasn't going to sacrifice what I had, especially for something that wasn't worth it. I would not give that up for her. Give up what? Sophie's suddenly rambling all over the place. Nothing. I gave up on nothing, and I'm paying for it now. Oh no, I named it Joe, and I'm regretting it. Because this character is a mess. Even more of a mess than I am. How you doing, Horror? When you cheat and refuse to make a difficult choice, it will be made for you. You'll pay for it. Others pay for it. Should have put dramatic on that list too. Sophie really knows how to chew the scene and be the gaudiest thing in her pity party. Still, I'm curious about her and what Lyra saw in her. Also seems there's something about Lyra that really bothered Sophie. It could be a good time to find out what it was. What was the difficult choice that was made for you? That's my own business, but let's play a game of what if, then maybe you'll understand. What if Lyra asked you to give up something you love to be mentored by her? Would you do it? That's a stupid question. I never had to make that choice. Lyra chose me to be her mentee. Apple TV's free this weekend, so you binged watch all of Shrinking Season 2. Cool. Yeah, it is free this weekend, and it's still this weekend. Maybe I'll check that out. Is there a website for it, or do you have to do it via an app? Because I like watching TV on my PC. Also, I find Apple TV so incredibly hard to navigate. Did it through an app? Okay. I'll have a look. I can Google that. Because I could maybe watch the first season of The Magicians again. Because that's on Apple, I think. We both had a choice, Joe. We just let Lyra make the choice for us. Oh yeah, I mean, I've got an Apple account. I have Apple devices. I just didn't get it with the TV app. The difference is you don't regret it. What do you mean you regret having Lyra as a mentor? I regret not choosing. I pretended I was giving up nothing because why not both? I betrayed them both because of it. Betrayed them both? She probably means Lyra and Alice. Sophie's answers have been cryptic this whole time, but I'm starting to see there was some sort of grudge between the 3 of them. Now I can't create, and the things I used to make look like garbage, like this. Sophie yanks a book from a stack on her desk, which apparently seems to be all of the series she was reading at the picnic. Self-gratifying smut written by an egotist. That's all I could make with Lyra, and now I make nothing with Alice. You wrote this? Of course I wrote it. Who else writes such trash? Didn't sound that bad. Alice doesn't seem to think so. Oh, yeah, she's right. All those things Alice said about the book must have really hurt Sophie's feelings. I read it. I mean, if Lyra liked it, then I'm sure it was good. Do what you want. Sophie chucks the book in my direction. I fumble with it midair. When I finally catch it, there's a sudden gust and that gut-wrenching feeling of being pulled again. She's just disappeared, hasn't she? Oh. When I look up, again, I'm standing on the campus path, cradling Sophie's book in my hands. Okay, so now I got a book. And we've got 10 achievements. About 25 minutes left. Look around, recognizing this place. I run for it as fast as I can, as if something grotesque is chasing on my heels. A sick joke. Transporting me to the very spot Lyra fell and the very place I met her for the first time. Sophie's the absolute worst. The next day. I'm shocked awake by sharp flashing that pierces through my eyelids, so bright that I can only see the crisscrossing of my veins. I cringe into my pillow, fighting the disorientation of waking up to a hive-minded ping. Feels like a wasp inside my head, but as much as I want to shut it up, my sleepy brain can't remember how to answer it. Breathe, Joe. My face warms at such a vivid memory of Lyra. What you've taught me, Lyra, lives on. I breathe through the discomfort and open my sleep-deprived mind to the hive. At least Miss Daniela would be the one to wake me up like this. I blink 3 times to accept the message. Miss Daniela's voice echoes inside my mind. Since you missed yet another mentoring session, please attend the following lectures to ensure you are making sufficient progress. The last of which is supposed to be for second-year students who are retaking modules, but according to your last report, the pace should be appropriate. We'll go over a lot of concepts we missed since someone forgot to show up. Schedule invites pop up in my mind 3 at a time. She's packed my whole day with classes. See to it that you attend each and every one of these, or I might have the board review your current enrollment here. I blink away the hive mind and finally raise out of my bed. He's definitely more than a threat. Miss Daniela is filling my day with all these classes for a reason. It has to be something to do with Lyra, something she doesn't want me to find out about. Or she is concerned because you're missing your schoolwork or coursework, and she doesn't want you to fail. Yeah, something's definitely wonky here. It's intriguing. Sadly, I have no time to find out why. If I get kicked out, I'll never find out what happened to her. A few hours later. The first lecture passed in a blur, but the seminars after that were painful. It's been a long time since I attended a seminar, and most of my classmates have matched up into friends groups. Here I am without Lyra or a single friend. It was even more awkward when it came to discussing with a partner because I was the odd one out. The seminar lead looked at me so pityingly it made me want to run out of the classroom. I put on a brave devil-may-care smile and got on with work. Who cares if I don't have friends? I had Lyra. Who else could say that? By the final lecture of the morning, I'd figured out exactly where to sit in the back of lectures to avoid bringing attention to the fact I was alone. Answering lots of questions during classes helped me feel like less of a loser. Showing everyone I'm smart enough for this place will keep them from pitying me. After the lunch break, I walked into the next lecture, ready to put my perfected plan into action, when I noticed 2 familiar faces in the front row. Sophie, why is she here anyway? Miss Daniela said that this lecture is for second years retaking first-year courses. Sounds mean, but with Alice's reputation, her being here makes more sense. Sophie unpacks her bags onto the shared desk. Alice is napping already, her arms folded around her head, which is fully laid on the desk. Sophie tilts Alice's chin up, sliding a notepad under her head like a pillow. Alice stirs, groaning as she's forced to move. As I walk towards them, I make out the words they try and hide in hushed tones. Alice, the class will begin in a second. Wake up. A few more minutes. We slept through half of the last lecture. People were looking. I don't care what people think. I'm sleepy, so I'm sleeping. Rest is important. I do care. It makes you look bad. The lecturer noticed. You're the one that wanted to sit at the front. I wouldn't have been me here if you didn't make me come. No, you'd be lazing around somewhere. In a couple of months, you'd be failing your first year modules again. What will be, will be. Can you at least try? Sophie's voice strains, trying hard to keep her voice low through her frustration. Why? I'm not planning on being a psychokinesis major like you. Basic spells are good to know, especially for defense. It's funny, Sophie sounds like Miss Daniela when she says that. Defense? Ha! All your spells didn't help you when it came to Lyra. Did you lie to me about how she made you do all those weird things? I told you what happened. She made me choose, so you chose her and locked me away. I cringe, half regretting listening in. Kept you safe, Alice. Don't shout at me. I'm not shouting. They weren't, but by the rising intensity of their voices, they might as well have just started. As people file in, they walk around the pair in the front row. It's as if the students were accustomed to avoiding their drama. A student mutters something about the lovers being at it again. Sophie should dump her already. Weird, it seems that people aren't surprised Sophie's here. Alice doesn't even need to be here. Alice is cute though. I'd fight all the monsters in the realm for someone that cute. Is it worth it, wasting your time on such a lost cause? When are you going to grow up, Alice? That was a shout. Never. I'm not her and I'm not going to be her. Sophie glares at Alice, but her angry grimace seems to waver with each tear that slithers down Alice's face. Alice. Sophie reaches out, but Alice pulls away, pushing herself to her feet before storming out the classroom. Wait for it. By the evening, they'll be all lovey-dovey again. I wonder. If they're angry at each other, maybe they're angry enough to throw each other under the bus and confess to what they were really doing that night. I'm going to stick with questioning Sophie, because that's what we've done. Yeah. I decide to go against my tried and trusted method for avoiding my peers and sit beside Sophie. Sophie doesn't look from a meticulous setup of paper and pens. When her pens levitate off the table, I realise it wasn't just a vanity, but a casting arrangement. The lecture ends after what seems like a long time. Sophie blinks and raises her head, and finally I see a yellow glow dissipating. She was in a trance again? That would explain why she didn't move or talk to me this whole time. It's a good time to ask her some questions. Sophie waves her hand, and all of her stationery and notes fly into her bag. She picks it up and hastily stands before I can speak. Hey, Sophie. Not now, I have things to do. With that, she sweeps out of the room. I jump to my feet and hurriedly pack, rushing out after her. She's gone already. Better look next time. I check my schedule. I have a 20-minute break between now and the next lecture. I have some time to track her down. I still have some of that magic paint Alice gave me. I'm in a good mood as I empty the sachet into the air and watch as the magic begins. Green footprints paint a path forward. I follow the footprints step by step, used to the green group under my feet now. Still sounds gross. Geez, Alice's room. I'm not surprised that Sophie is here, out of all places. Just as I raise a hand, the door swings open, and with it a gust of air knocks me back. Joe, Sophie and I were expecting you. Oh, really? How did you know that I just wanted to ask Sophie some questions about the lecture? Of course, come on in. I look around the room, but there's no Sophie to be seen. Where's so... Come, she's in Wonderland. Alice waves me over to the closet she'd shown me the first time I came into her room. Oh, that explains why she's not in her room. Should we wait for her to come out, or... Don't think she'll mind if we go find her. Let's go. Alice opens the door and grabs onto my hand. The door leads to a huge tunnel of darkness, a space infinitely larger than what the closet would seem to contain. Is this Wonderland? Wait, why can't I feel anything? I look down. I can't see anything. I can't see my body, just some specks of light that seem to be flickering and fading by the second. Sorry, Joe, you knew too much. Goodbye. She blows at a dandelion in her hands. With a wind, the dandelion seeds pass through what particles of me that remain. Alice, why? She knows something. Is there something I could have done differently? Got ending? The rabbit! You lost the anchor between the physical and mental realms while chasing Sophie. Cool! We got an ending. We're not gonna play anymore. We haven't got certain ending yet. Okay. Cool! Well, we got an ending. I'll take it. We've got some save games. And we have 11 achievements. Cool. Awesome. Right. I will play more of this off stream. Because I'm intrigued, but also slightly annoyed with the language used, so no more on stream, and you know that was slightly shorter than whatever, but we got to an ending, so I'll take it. Intriguing. Yeah, play that offline. I don't know whether I managed to get my RTDL, but we need to try and play some Howard Halibut because that's like 53 gig and I need to clear some space. Cool. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what game I'll be playing. And I'm starting a headache, so I need to have some water and some painkillers. But anyway, thank you everyone for being here today. It's been cool. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. That was Death Becomes You. I don't know whether I said at the beginning, but Ideal Xbox game. Thank you to Ideal Xbox. It does say on the title screen, but I'll just say it just in case. Yeah. Intriguing. We'll play more. For now, I'm going to have a break, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with something. So yeah, cool. Well, I've been Joe, otherwise known as Angel SK. Catch you later. Bye.